Hello everybody, I'm Ikabu, and today we will go Rise of the Machines tournament finals as a part of our Clan Rivals or Clan Wars tournament that was called Metal Wars, if I remember correctly. And by the side of me, I am joined by none other, the one and only Moff, who I hope is better at high fives than Keyhand is, but we'll find out that later today, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Moff. I'm from the Clan Meme. You may have heard of it, it's kind of infamous on the server. I've been playing World of Tanks since about 2014. I've participated in numerous Clan Wars events since then, whether it's a season, a campaign, or even a tournament like this one. My favorite tank is definitely the EBR. I play a lot of it in advances, particularly over like thousands of games. Yeah. Over the next 2 days, I'll be doing the post-game analysis for the upcoming matches, and yeah, hopefully we should have some good games.
Cool. And so we're going to start off with the daily code for today. There will be another one tomorrow, but today's code is Machines 20 will win. Of course, Machines always will win. There's a bonus code for everybody. Share it with your friends, share it with everyone, give it to everyone, and then they'll be redirected here. We're going to leave that up for a little bit longer and talk about this. What are your predictions then for the first game?
In the first game, I'm expecting a comfortable victory for Raid. They should come out on top, maybe 3-0, 3-1. Batum, they're not a bad team, but I just think Raid's they should be able to dominate the first round.
Mm-hmm. So we should be able to see the tournament tree now then, so everybody can see what the progress is going to be, what games we're going to see today, and the teams that will be playing today as well, in which order. And so there you go, Raid. A surprise, I think, for a lot of people last tournament. Was that a surprise for you?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely a very capable team, and they deserve to win last time, but the 4-0 scoreline was definitely a bit shocking. Fame unable to get a single point on the board. I think a lot of people were shocked by that. But today's games, we're going to have 4 matches on the first day, and then 2 semis and a final tomorrow. The first games will be best of 5s, and the important thing to note about this tournament, unlike the last one, is that it's a single elimination, which means that if you lose, you're out of the tournament, which means that we're going to be saying goodbye to 4 teams already.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so the first game coming up will be Batum versus Raid, followed by Weird versus CSA, then Tilt versus Nomi. And I believe the last one is going to be Invil versus Fame, and that's going to be definitely one to watch later in the day.
Yep. And who are you expecting out of the giant clash?
I keep flip-flopping on it. I've been flip-flopping a lot over the last couple of days, but I think that Fame will probably pull through in the end. I'm expecting maybe a 3-2 scoreline, very close games.
Okay, thank you very much. And I know we're going to be passing you over to the casters very shortly, who are going to run you through the rest of the tournament and making sure everything's okay. So make sure you share with your friend the giveaway code link. Make sure you enter the giveaway links that are in the chat through Gleam, and then we'll be passing you over to a new fearsome duo with Mojo and Keyhand. Let you get them, take you away into the games.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Clan Rivals tournament. My name is Mojo. I'm a part-time player, part-time caster, sometimes historian, sometimes philosopher in tanks. And this handsome dude here is a total meme tactics person, Keyhand. Hello,
Hi
bro.
guys, how are you doing?
Well, we are here after quite some time in a tournament. I mean, the previous one was in May, I believe. And as usual, after the campaign, we have the final period. We have only final 8 teams here. We had a big qualifier before, and we have the group stage with 16 teams. And this is the result of that. Some teams are missing here. There was even a death group, as far as I saw. And you can take us a bit through there.
Yeah, I mean, some teams definitely missing. There is, well, basically the way that the group phase, the stage of the tournament before this was done, was there was 4 teams qualifying from the previous campaign, which was called Metal Wars, I believe. And yeah, the first 4 clans there, which were Fame, Tilt, Alpha, and Invil, were directly shifted towards the group phase. But in the group phase, actually, Alpha, who were placed 3 in the campaign, did not manage to win a single game, and yeah, dropped out of that one quite unexpectedly, I have to say. Yeah, bitter defeat for that French lineup from Alpha there. And the other team we're not seeing here this tournament is Davy, who also did not manage to get through the group phase. I believe they were in a very hard group though. With
It was insane group, man. Tilt, Invil, MVPS, and Devi. Insane group.
yeah, it
Like, come
was
on.
definitely a hard group, the hardest most likely. And yeah, unfortunately for the Balkanistas, they are not here today to show us what they've got. But we've got some other teams on our hands. Aforementioned was Batom, a Czech team, which is fairly newly created. They played together in the campaign, and it's mostly players from made it sort of comfortable through the group phase, but now they're, of course, facing the winner of last tournament, which is indeed the raid lineup, the German team, and yeah, we'll see what they can do against this German Goliath. You almost have to say by now. Their captain is Old Kings, and yeah, Mojo, what do you expect from them?
Well, technically, we should expect the Raid to beat them in this match because they are way more experienced. They also won the last tournament. Although I will mention one jinx thing. We didn't have for the past year a single team who won twice in a row.
Yes,
So
indeed.
not a single team won 2 tournaments in a row. The only consistent one was Fame. They were always there in finals, but they didn't really win every one of those.
Yeah, in the last 3 tournaments, I believe Fame was always there, but they only managed to win one. A win rate of 33%, not entirely what they probably
they won
expect from
204.
From the last 4, yes, they won
Yeah.
2. But yeah, as we move into the picks and bans, as we can see, Himmelsdorf banned by Batom. Raid was very comfortable on that map. Raid instead banning Ruinberg, probably very expected because Ruinberg, you can really park the bus there and camp. But yeah, the picks, Murovanka, Cliff, and then Prokhorovka as the tiebreaker.
Yeah, we need to mention this is best of 5 days. So this first day is best of 5. So who reaches 3 wins is overall winner. But the teams are ready, and I think we should just roll out there first.
Or we get another look at ourselves. Well,
that's okay also. Well, we can also mention a couple of more things. The format of the tournament is 15 versus 15, so classic clan war format on standard maps. So you have 2 caps, and it's 10 minutes. So it's not a 15-minute mark like usually in the clan wars. It's 10 minutes. Yeah, they have to restart, guys. So we can talk about a couple of other things. Also, there is a couple of things you need to know, like how are these teams actually matched up? Like, why, as example, everyone will ask, like, oh, why is Fame playing Invil in the first round?
Well, it was actually done in a random shuffle. So basically, the only thing that could not happen was that the heads of each group meet each other. So whoever placed first in their group could not meet first places of other groups. It was always place 1 against place 2. That's how the matchups came to be. The other important thing we haven't mentioned yet in this tournament is that even though it's a Clan Rivals tournament linked to Clan Wars, there will be no Clan Wars reward tanks should any player pick one of those tanks, or even other reward tanks. So basically 260s, 279s, Chieftains, M60s, VK72s, all of those are not viable. Should one player pick one of those, it's an immediate technical defeat for his team, and the other clan or team gets the point. Other than that, all tech tree tanks which are freely available to purchase in the tech tree are allowed. So we're probably going to see a lot of EBRs, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the meta will shift back towards Super Conks, 140s, 430Us, who knows?
Yeah, I guess that was one of the most important things to mention in this tournament, actually. Other than that, if you're wondering why are Fame and Invil playing the first round, well, Invil didn't win their group. Fame
Indeed.
did, Invil did it, and then they entered the roster, like the random roster, who can they meet? And it turned out like this. It's gonna be a really intense match, I believe. And we have other pairings that you saw before also, so I also need to mention Raid was not winner of their group also, as far as I remember, right?
I believe.
Yeah, Weird was the winner of that one.
Weird actually took the surprising 2-0 victory against Raid on Morvanka in the group phase.
Which will be played today by Raid.
Yes, which
Maybe
Raid, I
lessons
believe,
learned.
even picked, or the bottom pick. I'm not sure, but it will be played for sure. Other than that, the other things we can mention is that the prizes this tournament have actually been stocked up quite significantly. Not only is there, of course, tons and tons of in-game gold, bonds, camos, whatnot for the participants, there is also, of course, actual real money involved, and quite a lot of it. And also the winning team gets 15 monitors sponsored by BenQ.
So we get like winning team gets. This is like a tennis, man. Like winner gets almost everything. Winning team gets 10k euros in cash. They get 15 monitors, and I checked the prices of those. They're like almost 500 euros each. So the BenQ monitors, then you get in-game gold, like 500,000, 100k bonds. No, yeah, 100k bonds. You get the champion style that you keep as a player, which no one else has on a server if you win the tournament. And you get an invite to the annual tournament for Wargaming Fest. So I doubt it's gonna be involving traveling time this time. So probably it's gonna be online.
We're all doing it from home, as you can still see. There is still a pandemic going on, so stay safe with that one. But yeah, the prices, especially for first place, I mean, second place still gets 5k euros, yeah, but especially first place, they are, not
they
to be
get
scoffed at.
participant style, 250k gold, like how much? 75k bonds, pretty much like less, of course, than first. But the first place is humongous, and it would really pay off for any of these teams to make that extra effort.
Yeah, you can definitely count on all the teams to be super hyped for place one. And I talked to a lot of the team captains before the tournament even. And yeah, there was everyone was agreeing the prices were, especially compared to the last one, the prices were super good. And they were really trying to compete. Everyone was training and try-harding during trainings. And it's nice to see that people are back in the competitive mode for themselves, to get back into that mindset to really show off what they got against each other, especially in this tournament.
Well, the first match we will watch is Bottom against Raid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we really don't know much about Bottom, except they're like Czech and Slovak mixture. And they're, as Ki already said, they're a mixture of 3 clans, Pearl, Enway, and Duffy, if I'm correct. But about Raid, we can talk a lot. Technically, they play the campaign in Tilt.
Yes.
And that's why we have more or less 2 teams from Tilt here. And other Tilt is Tilt International, that is in tournament, which came through the qualifier also.
Yeah, well, I actually asked the team captains before the tournament even started to give like some info about their team, and it turns out the bottom lineup hasn't actually been playing together for a long time. When I asked him, what is the core of your team? How long have you been together? He was like, we played together for about 2 weeks. So that's not a long time. That's not a long time to create synergies for yourselves.
What was your prediction for this match, mate?
For this match, I believe I went with a 3-1 for Raid.
That's such a copy-paste, man. On Iki was like exact like 3-0 Raid.
But I believe the game is ready, so we can hop into this one. Hopefully it won't be another restart. And yeah.
Well, let's see, guys. Like when the time comes, they will take us away to the match, and until then, we can watch your lovely lightning in the room. Man, is that a bottle that is actually
It is a
alive?
bottle, and actually,
Was it a good bottle? You need to share that experience.
It was indeed a good bottle. One of the team's captains, Isegal, actually he has a hobby of turning those bottles into lights, and he gifted one of those to me. So
All
shout
right,
out to him
that's
for
so
doing
cool,
that.
man. Actually, seriously, that's a bottle with history, guys.
Yep. But yeah, other than that, if we look into the predictions, I mean, for this game, I think everyone. No. Wait. There we go. Everyone went with Raid. Yeah. No, I actually went with a 3-0 here. So, yeah, thinking back about that, I was probably feeling more confident for Raid than I am now. I think Bottom really has the potential to take a round. But yeah, there we go, into the gameplay. And we can see Murobanka being played, Bottom playing from the bottom, Raid from the top. And yeah, it's really that style by Raid we've come to know from them from the last tournament. Mostly waiting on the A-line with most tanks, one Super Conk being dedicated into that B4 position, probably going to go hull down on the C3, C4 hill soon. And Bottom, very, very 1-2 line oriented. Mojo.
Bottom is playing attack on this map. Raid is defending, as you can see, guys. Bottom super aggressive, 1-2 line pressure immediately. They will be instantly spotted. You can see those guys coming and taking the trench on E2-3, but that means that actually they might actually stop. I am really interested to see, will this cluster of mediums on E1, F1 actually keep pushing and try to pressure the Raid? Yes, they are. The heavies are coming in. Flocky is coming in together with the rest of the guys, but Goat lost almost entire HP for this spot, and he's on 100 HP, barely alive. Raid is sending the tanks away. They're running away from the ditches, leaving only STB on A3, already rotating from the lower side of the map to make a control there. Venom is already down, man.
Yeah, we can see here those mediums on the 1-2 line in B1 right now. They're trying to advance. One of them already died, and they try to take those positions aggressively. They sort of have cooldowns now, but they need to continue on because their heavies in the middle are getting slaughtered in C3. They need to continue on to put the pressure onto Hillary in his S-Conk, and the STB1 also needs to go down together with the Arty. The question is, can they do it, because they're getting slaughtered on the cross here. And yeah, the 277s, they also need to put some pressure onto rerolls in his S-Kongs so he cannot farm the mediums. And now we see this crucial fight here going on in A2, A3 here. If Bottom wins that, they have good chances. But look at the HP mojo. Raid up like 6k HP right now, 22k for them in total. And yeah, we can see the picture has stopped at the moment. There we go, it's back, and we can see the 277s actually have to move back for Bottom now. Bottom really trailing here in HP, only 13k left. Hillary still standing strong in his S-Conk. Smiley coming in with the CGC to shield him, and there we go, Smiley going down, but the S-Conk now has a hold down. He needs to keep his HP there, he needs to stay alive. But on the other hand, the EBRs from Raid actually on the downside now, pushing there into the Bottom forces, and it looks like Bottom cannot stand strong against this defense by Raid.
The main problem is the lack of HP for Bottom now. They actually managed to win the fight on A3, which I'm quite surprised. Aladdin, I don't know, someone didn't rub that lamp well, man, because he got deleted there pretty much for nothing. And they managed to take 2 tanks also. They're like Super Conk +1. But in the process, Bottom lost control of entire map, and they're collapsing everywhere we are watching now.
Yeah, I mean, you can see right now in the picture we are seeing Bottom at 10k HP and Raid is at 17.5k, so there's almost no chance Bottom gets back out of this, especially since the Arty is probably already down at the moment against the double EBR here. And yeah, Raid with a very convincing hold, especially on that A-line there with the Super Conk, who even got shielded by the Arty. Nice play there by Smiley. And I don't see a lot happening that would bring Bottom back into this game, especially position-wise. If you see... Yeah, if you see right now, Raid almost has the entirety of the map. But as you can probably see at the moment, we are experiencing some technical issues. So we'll be right back
slightly frozen.
after a 5... Yeah, we'll be back after a 5-minute break, and hopefully we'll have it fixed by then, guys. Apparently I was lying with the 5 minutes because they were able to fix it sooner. Yeah, we can just see the mop-up as expected, Raid converting that tank advantage and also the HP advantage into a secure victory. 7k left and also a lot of tanks to spare here. Yeah.
You did it on purpose, you just baited us there, man.
Yeah, we are getting baited just like you guys at the moment. But yeah, I would say a rather convincing win here for the Raid team. I mean, they're playing as the Tilt clan. As we mentioned before, both the Tilt team and the Raid team are in the Tilt clan. But yeah, all of them with their shiny golden fists. I don't think there are fists available this tournament because there is no match for place 3, so no opportunity to give out the bronze ones. But yeah, we can see the Super Kongs basically coming in strong with their positions that Bottom pushed into. The only player from Bottom really shining here is Woodog with 4k damage dealt. That's a nice result for him. Yeah, but other than that, that push not really working out for Bottom.
He was the guy who actually cleared out the corner that we mentioned during the game. That was like quite surprising for me because I know there was a Super Conqueror there. I know there was like an STB plus one more guy. And somehow Aladdin in his STB got really trashed, like heavily, you know? And those poor zero damage guys that you saw in a Bottom team, they were deleted on the way, man. Like STB is not really known for a great armor, you know, while you're driving side armor, best armor.
The STBs, unfortunately for them, they had to cross over the open ground to even get towards the position where the arty was and the defensive Super Conk and the defensive STB. And yeah, unfortunately for them, they got caught on the cross. And yeah, sometimes you have to take one for the team. I usually do that when I play, but...
That's your excuse, right?
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, it didn't work out for them. They took it for the team, but it... soon we're not having to deal with that any longer.
We're not going to have to worry about Progetto domination in randoms anymore.
Yeah, we can see the shooting not entirely great. I mean, 50% hit rate, 50% pen rate, block damage 390, the OP armor coming in, but...
amazing tomato stats.
Yeah, I guess we know now why they have a clan logo like this, right?
Well, anyways, that first game is done and dusted. It's 1-0 for Raid. After it started, it like from the very start when the first shots were exchanged, it pretty much looked everything is under control of Raid, and it stayed like that. Although we lost the transmission for a bit, like nothing was really in any shadow of doubt in that moment.
Yeah, I mean,
would you do anything different if you were like Bottom, like when you start this kind of push?
I mean, I guess you have to take into consideration the mindset of the two clans playing here. Raid being the clear favorite, Bottom is the underdog. So yeah, I don't think it's too unusual for Bottom to start with something to catch Raid off guard. And indeed, Raid they basically had the perfect counter by just waiting on their A line. They had enough forces that they could just dedicate to wherever they needed them. They could have reinforced the arty position. What they chose instead to do was take the complete map control with the EBRs, just take everything else, give that 1-2 line to Bottom, then have the positions to clear them up. I don't know if they expected that 1-2 line push by Bottom, but it was indeed well countered and also well called by their FCs to basically there was never a second in that match where it didn't seem like Raid didn't have the full control of it.
Yeah, they were just playing by the feel, what they saw. What I was surprised is that Bottom was so stubbornly actually pushing there, because once they took over that middle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, once you
I thought actually
yourself,
they will stop. I really thought they will stop. You know, they even had that EBR trashed on 100 HP. He should have told them, like, they're already trapping them. I was expecting that they will stop and start the rotations over the map, but that didn't happen. They were like, yalla, that's gonna work for sure.
Yeah, I guess they thought they were already too deeply committed, because if you're too deep and then you try to go back, they're gonna put on the hurt, like Raid would have put on the hurt onto Bottom in that scenario. But yeah, the EBR apparently not getting enough info despite being taken down to a one-shot for the spotting run. But yeah, I believe game 2 should be up soon, as we're getting a beautiful scenic view of Moravanka.
Yeah, Muravanka coming in now. Bottom is defending and Raid will be attacking. In this one, let us see what will be their mindset. Will we have arties on both sides? That's the question always. On this map, double arty here for Raid. That spells a slower approach. One arty for bottom. Double arty means like Raid will really take it slow, man, and try to dig them out. Because also they need to kind of prevent any kind of push by bottom, who will have one tank more.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
they
Raid
need
has
to
been
make
known.
sure that spotters are taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, Raid has been known to take it a little more slowly recently. And yeah, indeed, the double RT does mean exactly that. We can see, the map sort of being split north, south, bottom defending. They're not committing to a push this time, obviously, because they are defending. And right now, it's all about those spotting battles sort of going on in between the EBRs. Here, Kurtek in his Gong GC giving a stun to one of the EBRs. Other than that, no HP lost yet. And we can just see the EBRs on both sides just feeling it out. Where's the enemy? Where might they be trying to push? And oof, almost a hit there by the arty. Some HP taken off. And yeah, time right now, I mean, it's working for both teams, right? Bottom is defending. Yet again, Raid has 2 artilleries. So
you know how it goes when you say "ooh," almost connected. it's like a blistering action all over the place. Anyways, we can see by the Raid composition of tanks, you should pay attention to the 9 line. Like, why are they so stretched down the water and why are they approaching this I7 only now? Well, Raid, because they play the map control, first had to make sure there is not a big YOLO by bottom there. Otherwise, they would lose a couple of tanks more or less for free. And they really didn't want that. That means both artists were probably already pre-aimed there and waiting. They had EBR spotting and the guys are playing really cautious. And you can see them slowly going over the map with the I7. 113 went to the middle from the start. Like they're like slowly extracting their tentacles to see where bottom is. And then they will start the relocation of the tanks. It's interesting to see like 113 used again in Clan War after such a long time, man.
Yeah, I mean, the 113, I'm getting flashbacks from that one, and ouch, that one hurts. The CGC by bottom getting the fire onto Old Kings. I'm wondering why he isn't removing the stun. If he would, then he would burn for less. Maybe he already used his. But yeah, ouch, that hurts. Almost 1500 damage in one shot by an artillery. Artillery not supposed to do that amount of damage anymore, but yeah, of course, if you set
when
someone
you
on fire,
burn, man.
you do. Yeah. And as we can see now on the 9-0 line you mentioned, the IS-7 being pushed up, actually enabling the EBR to spot more freely. And the IS-7 basically provides a spotting screen for the tanks in the back that are being pushed up right now. That's a push being prepared by Raid. We'll see how the bottom guys are going to receive it. I mean, there's a lot of people in A7, A8 ready to receive this push here. We'll see if it will be enough. And yeah, the IS-7 now pushing up, basically revealing the info. Nice shot by Destroyer there onto Goat Noob and his EBR. The IS-7 basically revealing there is gonna be some sort of action happening, and the 9-0, as Goat Noob just experiences, he's getting taken down to a one-shot. Destroyer also taking one, the artillery from both sides, putting in the work. And we can see Destroyer, he probably would want to go up into the hold-down position there, as he does now. But yeah, the RT prevented him almost from doing that.
I must say, Kritek, the big clicker, is doing really good work at the moment on his RT. He is connecting the shots timely. I could say that EBR play by bottom leaves a bit to be desired for, because he's really losing a lot of HP early in the game. This is kind of a big burden in a game like this. Yeah, they have one more EBR, but they cannot really count on that. If you compare to Raid, Raid has 3
look at
EBR.
that clearing by the EBR though. Alka sees the enemy, and there he gets deleted immediately. There were so many people aimed on where Holy Tox was. They probably found out there was an EBR posted in D7. Smart scouting run there by Alka, and everyone ready to just, delete that EBR out of existence. And we can see here Raid very methodically clearing position after position. 5.5 minutes still left, and they already have an advantage again regarding the HP. A comfortable 3k by now, and we can see the noose is tightening around Bottom's neck.
Yeah, Moravanka is small map, so there is still time for rotations, and Raid is actually using their chance. There we go. Finally, they managed to, Bottom manages to destroy one of the raid EBRs, but that leaves, this is what I was about to say. After deleting EBR from D7, the next logical move of raid would be to find where is that 430U, where are they getting spotted from, and now Bottom has zero map control. They actually have no idea where is the enemy, except that they are everywhere where they are not, and they are on very narrow space, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can see right now who's spotted. There's one 113, one Superconk, and one IS-7 spotted on the raid team. And that, obviously, the RT trying to work at that IS-7, he's putting in the damage, but the problem is the IS-7 is normally not a tank that is important in the later stages of the game. They're using Destroyer right now as a battering ram to create spots for their double RT, and obviously 2 RTs are gonna do more damage than one if the 1 RT doesn't set people on fire again. And yeah, here we can see Bottom. They are being forced into a reaction. They're pulling a lot of people onto that 1-2 line again. And yeah, we're probably going to see soon if that one is rewarded with success for them, as there is quite some raid tanks to defend this.
I think this is pure fear that makes them do them, but they have zero map control, so this is do or die moment. I don't really like it, and I think that raid can easily contain whatever they send there. Like, look at this position of these tanks. Yes, they will sacrifice an STB, and even STB is in some cooldown and he's covered by his teammates. There's gonna be damage flowing in as the Bottom pushes, and there will be the rest of the raid tanks then following up. The main issue is the 4 line. We need to pay attention what goes on the 4 line. The clash started now. STB is under attack here by the Bottom guys, and he will soon be deleted, man.
Yeah, you can see Bunze getting set on fire in his 113 and the 277s from Bottom, meanwhile pushing over that STB-1, but not before Magnesium in his Kong GC actually kills one of them, Farin in the Progetto picking up the other, and it seems like this push by Bottom here on the 1-2 line has stopped before it could really start here. They're just getting deleted. I mean, some tanks dropping here for raid, but in the end, not enough by Bottom on either side of the map. They're just getting trashed everywhere by all those stationary raid guns, which are just able to farm freely. I mean, 2 EBRs still left here for Bottom, but with the HP remaining below 5k here for the Czech team, I don't see a chance here to pull this one back. Hannes putting one shot in onto Euler, who gets finished by Alka, and yeah, we can see Lucas now going onto Goat Noob and his EBR, and it's a mop-up operation now. There is no doubt about the victor of this match.
Oh boy, man. Like, this was a total distraction. The rotations of raid were always on point. That leaves only the leader in Bottom, Mirek, followed by Krtek and Nezo, who are still alive. But that's not gonna be very long because the hyenas from raid are just coming for them, man.
Yeah, it's basically a pack of wolves now going for those last bits of juicy damage here, that tasty HP that they're consuming here. And yeah, it looks like Bottom on Murovanka wasn't up to the task of taking on raid. I mean, it's 2-0 now in this best of 5, which means we are already after 2 games on a match point. And yeah, Bottom...
I was very one-sided and it was a stomp. There is nothing else to say, man. Like, if you play 2 weeks against a team who already won one tournament and played even really great before that, there is not much to say. Like, these guys play well, the rotations were on point, the games were kind of technical if you watch Murovanka now. Like, they were just doing it methodically, mathematically, taking no chances, slow approach, choking the enemy, and that's it.
You can even see how nicely Tilt was using their arties. I mean, even though Krtek got the burn onto the 277 from Raid there, you can still see the Conk GCs on the Raid team. They got they both got more damage actually than Krtek.
It's a big difference in spotting also, because like they always had a spot and targets. So they were maximizing the use of their reloads, while Bottom losing the map control. After the few initial shots of RT, he really had nothing to do.
Yeah, and
the time he didn't even see who to shoot.
You even saw Kalium there in the STB who got YOLO'd. He was actually top damage. That means, yeah, basically the push they took, I mean, they had to do something. They were getting cornered, but the push they did, it didn't help them in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they they had to give up position after position, and that's not because their players probably played their positions poorly. It was just down to the really methodical gameplay by Raid, which you have to compliment on here in this match. It was, there never seemed to be a chance for the bottom players to get back at the Raid ones, just because of how the interactions in the Raid team went on. It was just perfectly people working together. And yeah, we can see there were like the hit ratio for Raid is actually lower, but that is probably due to the large amount of blind shots. And you can also see a very interesting thing I like to see is the distance traveled. It means that Raid was actually more active, generating more map control by traveling further.
Yeah, but as we can see these stats, I mean, the only important one at the end of the day is like first one 15 to 6 and the second one damage wise. There is like 9,000 damage difference between them, which is what Raid had pretty much.
I mean,
left
shots
at the end.
fired, it's almost double by Raid, which means the bottom guys simply did not have the spots required to shoot at the enemy, probably.
It's not only that, like it means that a lot of their tanks got deleted early without any chance to actually reprocitate. So even if you blind fire with a team, when you have less tanks, it's gonna stack up in that kind of stat if you watch that. But at the end of the day, completely irrelevant. Technically, Raid quite a level above the skill level of Bottom at the moment. Bottom doesn't seem to find any solutions. They tried fast play in the first game, it didn't work out. They tried slow play in the second game, it didn't work out. Next map they're gonna play will be Cliff.
And there won't be a lot of slow play probably going on that one, as Cliff is a map mostly centered around those clashes in the middle. Sometimes at the donut there is going to be most likely fast matches. Very few clans actually try to camp on Cliff, which is pretty difficult, at least from my point of view.
We've seen it with a couple of artists. We've seen it happen.
We've seen it, but then again, it's pretty uncommon actually, and there we get a nice view of that beautiful reworked map that is Cliff. And what do you expect of this one, Moja?
Well, Bottom is attacking here and Raid is defending, which on Cliff, I mean, beside the timer being on your side, it really doesn't mean much, right? Middle control, by far, this is the alpha, beta, and omega of this map. Like, you really have to have it if you want to do anything about this map. If you play it completely static and you have no control there, you can have 15 artists, man, plus tanks. It will not work out.
Yeah, Cliff definitely. It's a fun map to watch though, because you get to see that tank on tank action immediately. People like it's also down to reactions by the FC, but a large part of the victory mostly is down to the positions being played by the individual player. Individual player skill can carry you here. It's not a necessity that it carries you, but most of the time it is just those positions in the middle where the STBs go that will just enable the STBs to work with their DPM and just chew through the enemy team and just give your team the victory by doing that.
But seriously, tournament is usually played even a bit different than advances and everything else. I would not be surprised to see in matches of Cliff teams playing with double or one RT and playing slower. I would really not.
Yeah, I mean, Raid seems comfortable to play with double RT, as we just saw on Muro, but then again, Muro is a much slower map. It's mostly mind games, though, because, for example, as Bottom, you have the Tilt team that is very prone to playing slower because they're more comfortable with it. Then again, as Raid, you can say, well, they probably think we're going to slow play, so we're actually going to rush them. Yeah, it's all down to basically what the FCs think will get them the victory.
Well, the teams are getting ready. Our dilemma, will there be artists and how many or none, will be answered quite soon. What is important to know, if that kind of game happens, it's all about initial approach first. As we mentioned on map before, you saw how Raid did it really cautiously without exposing too much of their weakness because they had double RT. You need to be careful how to do it because of their possible rush. And we can see Raid as defender has one RT and Bottom as attacker has none. So Bottom is already stating all-out aggression, 277s, a butshot, some progettos, and mediums, STBs, EBRs. Is really aggressive. yeah, it's really aggressive setup here. And we will see how will actually Raid reciprocate to that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Raid actually bringing the tactical double Batchat here, only committing one 140 to the bottom side, possibly to cover the artillery. Everyone else going to the upside. And yeah, bottom sort of splitting, sending a lot of their STBs here to the middle, and the rest of the team is going to 1-2 line. The 140 obviously is gonna spot that. Here we can see the tanks spotted from the Raid perspective at the moment. They don't know about, now they do know about the 277s coming from the other side, and this means that Raid actually needs to react, because if they stay, they're going to be in a crossfire. Yes, there are two Batchats against the 277s, but those 277s are three of them and Haldon, and now we can see the reaction by Raid coming in here. The 277s going super aggressive, the STBs almost over peaking here. But yeah, the 277s instead deciding not to go for that middle commitment, instead trying to go to that donut to repush it into Haldon tanks. I mean, there is clip tanks even in the at the donut projectos, and yeah, we can see here now the push coming in. Raid bringing their own projectos, bringing the 140, bringing the 277s, bringing everything to counter those 1-2 tanks by Batum. So far it seems to be working from what I can tell. That's why Batum has to repush now in the middle. They're over pushing the middle, and it's being split right now, Mojo.
Yeah, it's a battle all over the place, man. It's a cluster house, it's a circus that you can imagine. There is a lot of small battles going all over the place. HP is pretty much equal because Raid was in really dire situation. I think they flanked up because they didn't spot on start very well, and they were chased away by Goat, the EBR on 1-2 line, so they didn't actually see the tanks coming from the 2 line on time. But their reactions came on time, so their counterattack was on spot, and the trade was really good in their favor. Now they do have the RT, they need to prolong this game. But
they need to, but they can't, because the EBR from bottom is going to pick up the RT sooner or later, and Raid knows that. That's why they are re-pushing now onto the E-line with everything almost that they have left, with the 277s, the 140, and you see here the Progetto getting almost caught out by bottom. He's bleeding HP heavily. Barry now leading the charge in his 140 onto those tanks in the middle from bottom. You can see bottom with a high HP STB on the hill here in the infight against Hannes, and unfortunately low roll here on Hannes. He's being left on 11 HP, but yeah, it's a neck and neck game right now. The problem for Batum probably that most of their HP are with the STB on the hill. That is being caught by Hannes at the moment.
yeah, but you can say the same problem is with Raid, man. Like, they're stuck all over the place in the middle of the enemy, but they're slowly gaining the control of the map. This is going well for them. They have covered by Progetto and 277 on 2 line, and they're progressing with the rest here. Hannes is buying them the game, man. I'm seriously saying this. He's buying them the game with survival here. And he actually connected and took out Toxic. Oh man, this is like a winning move of this game. Surviving as a solo fighter on this side of the battlefield with 11 HP, RNG thankful, but still. And with broken Amorek. And
yeah, Hannes
pretty much negating STB of his DPM. So he couldn't shoot on people down.
Yeah, Hannes probably screaming his heart out on TeamSpeak at the moment here, as he definitely is the MVP for his team in this match on Cliff here. And yeah, wow, what a game. Action going on all over the place with the better end for Raid. And yeah, as I said before the game, it's a match point, and yeah, Raid comfortable 3-0 victory in this best of 5. Congratulations
for
to
once
them.
You won actually the result, man. You guessed it.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, congratulations to Raid for advancing to the semifinals, to be our first semifinalist of the tournament. And whew, yeah, there we go. We can see the tree here. Raid with the victory comfortably advancing. They are going to be waiting for the match 2, and they're probably going to watch it as Weird and CSA are up in the next match to battle it out who's going to advance there. But yeah, we can see Hannes in his EBR 10-10-10. What a performance. What a gamer. What a man, the legend. Barry in his 140, also very nice damage, and also a lot of kills here coming in.
Don't call him Barry, man. Beryllium, please. Like, we're gonna mix him up with certain someone.
he's being called Barry. Yeah, I guess I'll call him Beryllium. But yeah, very, very nice plays by most of those tanks on the Raid side. And I have to say, this time it was not the tactics carrying Raid, but actually the individual player skill, especially on the hill on that lighthouse. And yeah, we can see 4 of the 5 top damage dealers coming in here for Raid. And whew, it was a close game, but bottom not quite up to the task.
I think that in this game, actually, like player skill and team sturdiness actually prevailed. In my opinion, Raid should have lost this game. Seriously.
Most likely, yes.
Because when the 1-2 line initial start push came, if you paid attention a bit, you could see that EBR of Bottom went all the way to the corner of enemy base. And he chased away 140 from Raid team to the red line, so he actually never saw those heavies approaching. When we shifted the view, if you remember, they were never spotted. They were missing from the map. Raid got that info so late once they were in the face of Bachats. So they lost like 1 or 2 tanks initially, but the reaction was super quick. Like super quick, man.
On
And
Cliff, you
everything
have
else,
to be
like we
quick.
saw cluster, you know what, of battles everywhere, all over the place. And that's where like player skill and coordination actually excel.
Talking about player skill here, the hits by Raid 91% compared to a 76 one
That's
by
pure
Batum.
brawl, man.
That's that's just the deciding
Penetrations,
factor
like
here.
look at this, 80 to 60, man.
Yeah, if Batum had the values regarding hits and penetrations that Raid generated this game, it is my opinion that they would have certainly won this game.
I really think they should have. Tactically, they should have won it. Raid just prevailed on pure skill. That's it.
Pure player skill, pure individual plays.
Well, that was a really interesting game to watch. I can tell you that.
Yep, and I'm still somewhat confused that I actually got a prediction right. I believe last tournament we had like 11 games or something, and I didn't get a single one. This time, first time lucky charm. It's we'll see if I get my other ones right as well.
Well, we will see about that. We will see also the next. So we have the first semifinals here, 3-0 for Raid versus Bottom. The next match we will be waiting for is Weird against CSA, and who wins there will be met tomorrow by Raid. Anyways, our analysts are ready, and they certainly have a lot to talk about this, so take it away.
Thank you very much, Mojo and Keyhand. Pleasure casting from there. We did have a small technical issue, which we should have fixed now, so we won't end up hitting that anymore. Moff's going to take us into the breakdown of replay shortly. I think we're just going to wait for the green light that those are going to get come through. Otherwise, what did you think of that, Moff? Did you how do you feel about those?
It went about as you would expect. Raid with a convincing performance. Batum tried to get the advantage by doing a very aggressive strat in the beginning, perhaps trying to catch Raid off guard, but it didn't quite work out the way they wanted. The next game, they tried the opposite. They tried to slow play on the defense, and Raid slowly just picked them apart position for position, and then they were forced to repush, and it just didn't work out. The Cliff game was actually the closest game where they had a decent chance of picking up a round. But anyway, the first game, where Batum tried to at the beginning they tried to push the one line very aggressively after their EBR gave info. But Raid just did a correct reaction with they had an STB at C1, but he ran all the way back to A3 where you see the super conk and the STB. They're just going to hold there, and they hold for such a long time, doing all the damage, and it just prevents Batum from doing anything.
Okay, and then what do you think of them taking out this S-Conk in the corner there?
It was an important play, but it just came too late in the battle, really. Like, if you look at the HP, Raid have already retaken the hill positions on the 3 line, and the battle was already over at this point. Obviously, the replay was lagging a little bit.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, so after the 1-2 play just didn't work out, Batum really didn't have anywhere else to go. They sort of just slowly lost all the positions to Raid, who took the other 2/3 of the map for free, basically.
Mm-hmm. And do you think the tanks at A6 were able to get much? Because I can't see from this angle here with the Leo.
Well, the tanks at A6, they tried to snipe the one line a bit. They got a little bit of damage out, but it was really just about holding the Batum 1-2 push. And once that was done, the game was already over at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And here we have the second game. This time Batum was on the defense, Raid on the attack. Raid definitely, Batum took a much slower approach to this game, being on the defense. They don't actually have to make a move in the battle. But Raid just sort of slowly took the positions. The IS-7 pushed up down the 0 line. 113 took D4, and the EBRs cleared out Holy Tox in his EBR. And then once that had happened, they could take the D7 position, and they can spot all the rotations out from Batum as they try to cross the A line. The double RT putting in a lot of damage, and then this forced Batum to do a repush onto the 1-2 line, which just didn't work out in the end because Raid had enough of a crossfire, they had enough tanks set up to shoot them as they came in, and it was really the last hope for Batum in this battle. They didn't really have anywhere else to go after they'd just been pincered from all directions.
Mhm.
And the final game on Cliff, obviously the closest game. This was the Batum's best chance to actually win the battle. To be fair, Batum splitting this and some 277s towards the 1-2, and the rest of their mediums up towards the top side. But then Raid make the correct decision to repush into the 1 line, and they kill all of these 277s really quickly, crossfiring from the downside with a 140 as well. Batum try to repush. They take out Raid's medium tanks on the upper side, and obviously an STB goes up towards the hill. But then Raid decide to repush again back into the middle while all of the Batum tanks are distracted because they're all split up. They repush onto the Progetto and they just power through towards the middle of the map. Meanwhile, Hannah's obviously on top of the hill. He's a one-shot, but he can just kite the STB around forever. Obviously, the STB gets a bit of a low roll, which is unlucky, but Hannah's manages to keep baiting him for the entire period. If Hannah's had died, then Batum may have had a chance in that battle because the STB would be able to farm the repush in mid from the top of the hill.
Okay.
But unfortunately, it wasn't to be for them.
And I saw Keyhan copying my prediction to get that one right, and you missed out by 1 score, unfortunately. Was that as close as you expected from that game, or did you expect a little bit?
Yeah, it went pretty much the way I expected. I was maybe expecting Batum to pick up 1 round, perhaps, because they obviously picked Miravanka, so I was wondering whether they maybe had something special planned. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. And Raid, very comfortable performance. They move on to the semi-final. They look pretty strong, you know. They dealt with all the YOLO rushes from their opponent.
Yep, it was a pretty. I don't know. From what I saw, it was very decisive from Raid there.
It was more like a textbook strategy, really. Like they just slowly took all the positions they needed on Muravanka. They rotated out of the 1 line in the first game as well, so they wouldn't lose too many tanks to the 1-2 line push from Batum. And Raid just made the correct decisions, and obviously the player skill and individual plays by Hannah's and such really helped them out with on top of their tactical decisions.
Okay. So I think the casters might be ready soon. I'm just waiting for the all clear on that one. And yeah, from what I saw on there, I'm curious to see if the rest of the chat agree with this when they finally catch up with us, because there is that 10-minute delay. I saw a couple of people cheering for the Batum in the chat. I'm not sure if there's going to be some broken hearts on there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I know we're just waiting for this to get ready. I do know that we still have the Gleam link for everybody to go through. I've got the green light that the casters should be ready, and then we're going to be able to switch to them soon. So thank you very much, Moff, for that analysis, and we're going to pass you back to Keyhand and Mojo, who are going to take you through the next game.
Welcome back, guys. Casters ready. We are back in business. So next match we are waiting for is Weird against CSA. Now, what can we tell about these teams? Weird is mainly German clan team, as far as I understand. Some former Chas guys there. And as far as CSA, they are obviously a Czech team. Well, they are, in my knowledge, like the oldest still playing clan on high level on EU server, because they are even older than when I made Kazna, man. So you can imagine they're fucking ancient.
Yeah, I mean, CSA doesn't need a lot of introduction. Most of the names there are going to be well known to anyone who has been following the basically the competitive scene for the last 3, 4, even 5, 6 years. Sakalito, obviously one of the MVPs of the last tournament, and you can also see that reflected in that predicted win chance, which is, I believe, by the viewers themselves through the prediction game which is going on. And most of the people are just routing for CSA here, 73.7, so almost 3 out of 4 people going with the Czech Yeah, you have to say Bulwark, I don't know, the Czech legend that still went on. As we move into the picks and bans, Proco getting banned by Weird, Muro getting banned by CSA, Weird banning Mines, CSA banning Cliff, and then we have the picks Ruinberg actually for Weird, a map we have not seen so far in the tournament and not in last tournament either because it's new in the map pool, and then Live Oaks for CSA. Saka likes that a lot. We saw that in the pay-safe card Clan Rivals, I believe. Himmelsdorf will be our tiebreaker, should it come to that. But yeah, we see here a beautiful view of Ruinberg, a map which is new in the map pool for this tournament. A very interesting one because it allows both slow play and aggressiveness. Aggressive pushes will mostly happen through the mid, maybe a little towards the small village, and maybe some clip tanks in the city. And yeah, if teams decide to camp the bus, well, they can just use the windows. As you can see, the south side is defending, and there are those K2 windows which you can use to very great effect should you choose to do so. However, it doesn't look like this. There is not a lot of campy tanks. There is one TD, but it is a 2684 by CSA, and yeah, it looks like all-out aggression here by both clans onto the mid mojo.
Yeah, guys, savor your eyes. This is pretty much the last time you see Ruinberg in this kind of edition. After the patch is going to be completely changed. There is a huge push by both teams coming straight for the middle. They're going to try to block one another from the entrance of the street and snipe the tanks in the process. That is going to be the probably prevailing the part of the game. Anji, as usual, takes the brunt of damage for his team. Somehow that's a karma that always and every time hits him. And there you go, he's already gone. There is a pressure on upper side of the map also going on by Weird. Lemillion is keeping the pin on the corner, but there is a big cluster of tanks of CSA there. HP wise, they're really close, and it's gonna be really a lot about the upper street because here up they're gonna just slow down on zero line. In the middle, that's where the real brawl is.
Yeah, the tanks are brawling in the middle here. All those 705As, even 277s, they are brawling out the middle, but it's very important what happens here in the small village, and so far Weird with a slight HP advantage. The guns are about even. CSA is one tank down, and CSA seems to be winning that middle engagement with the 277s while simultaneously holding the village, sort of. CSA now realizing they need to make something happen, and indeed they are pushing the small village here with their tanks there. You can see crossing over in the street. Meanwhile, Weird winning the city can now put in cross shots with the tanks there. CSA, however, with the numerical and HP advantage in the small village, and they're just over pushing here. Now you can see PJ, the team captain, still full HP in his 113, but the CSA tanks now just overpowering here in the small village, and Weird needs to be careful that their tanks come in time from the city. Salt in his Super Conqueror back there farming his heart out, but will it be enough to stop CSA from just taking all the tanks here by Weird?
This is actually really good for Weird at the moment, I think, because that Salt in the Super Conk was really big advantage from the start of the game. Also, Weird winning that middle engagement with the 110 class is quite amazing, I would say. Super close HP now, it's a mano, like really close exchanges here, and only a couple of shots will decide.
Yes.
Now, CSA is doing the smartest thing possible. They're extracting themselves from Salt, from EBR, and from 277 in the window, pushing everyone on Weird from the other side where they can't be held by those guys. And that seems to actually be a winning move at the moment.
Yeah, we're doing a smart thing here by trying to take the F line and getting CSA into a crossfire. However, CSA having none of it and now completely pushing out that F line here with all of their tanks. 705A is the last remaining guy. He gets to pick up one more, but gets picked up in return. And now it's CSA who has to dig out those tanks by Weird, who are near their cap here. Salt in his S-Kong. It seems though as Weird has given up on this game, or Salt has
it would be a mission impossible. That would require like music, like and Tom Cruise maybe to show up for them to win this. But obviously CSA is in a huge advantage, not just HP wise, they have more than guns in the games. They could just out-rotate Weird. So Weird just wants to say, hello, yeah, no problem guys, let's play the next game. You beat us this one fair and square. And I would say Weird, in my eyes, really had this game. And it's a slight rise of experience, like we've seen in the previous match. I really think they had this game. They were doing a really good work on CSA and progress, but that slight splitting of the tanks, going toward the enemy side with that group instead of just boosting the rest of theirs,
I mean, I really would have liked to see Weird play out this game because they still had that 277 in that very powerful window position. They had an EBR who could roam around, and they had, of course, Salt in his full HP Super Conqueror. I don't think it was as lost as they made it out to be.
Yeah, it was made. Come on. Like,
I mean, they were defending.
Saka, if you can tell some things about Saka, that he's not a sucker, you know? Seriously. Like, they knew where Esconk is, and that was entire HP of Weird. Of 2.7k, 2.4 was there.
Yeah.
So you have EBR on 100 HP, you have 277 in window on 200 HP, who cannot move. Only thing CSA would need to is to rotate, get in the window, kill him for free, rotate, get super con from two sides. How will he shoot on 5 guys? He can kill 1 or 2 of them. But that's about that. Sure, maybe it's prettier to fight till the end, but maybe that's not just their mentality.
Yeah, as we can see here, the damage numbers coming in. It seems like the 277s that CSA committed to the city basically didn't do a lot. Obviously, they died fast, but however, the 277s that actually got sent to the small village, they were able to carry that game. Xilka coming in there with huge 4.3k damage, 2 kills pickup, and
even 500 in his teammate.
Yeah, 500 in his teammates. So he goes from 4.3 to 4.8k for this match, true MVP. And it looks like the Czech veterans here being able to weather the storm against the aggression that came out from Weird on the defending side. And it was a neck and neck game though. At parts of it, you can see here the damage leaderboard actually being contested by both teams. It's not like the last game we saw. And we see Xilka on top, obviously. And then two players by Weird coming in. It's Salt in his Super Conk, who was farming from the back, and Sith Destroyer, I believe he was one of the 277s, if I'm not mistaken. But really nice stuff here from both clans. I like that both of them didn't camp. And you can see here that difference again in hits and pen rate. 87% hits here by CSA, 68% pen rate. That's just overall better shooting by CSA, and I think that's what got them the victory here in those close brawling scenarios.
Well, as you said, like experience plays a big role here. A bunch of these guys from CSA used to play Gold League before, and 3 of them you saw on the top leaderboard here. Also, Anji did play it, but every time I watch him on tournaments, he's usually the first one to get deleted. I don't know why, man, but like he is like, I don't know, he's attracting bullets. He's a magnet.
Yes.
Like something like that.
Well, you can use him like that so your other players don't get killed, but I don't know. He has a tendency to go in first. And we can see here the top damage dealers by both teams. Obviously, Xilka on top again. And we can see even here, Xilka with the better hit, with the better pen rate. The pen rate only slightly, but the hits, he just seems to put his shots onto the target. He leads it perfectly.
Well, it was really amazing brawl on Ruinberg. As I already mentioned, this tournament is pretty much the last chance you will see the Ruinberg in such fashion, because the map will go through severe changes, especially in the city area. So any tournament in future we see will be comprised on completely different approach by everyone. CSA coming on top 1-0 here. What were your predictions for this match?
I actually have to look it up, but I believe I actually predicted Weird to win because I've played some advances recently where CSA wasn't up to the task of defeating some other clans, so I thought they weren't quite in shape. But indeed, they proved me wrong. I predicted 3-2 for Weird, and so far CSA with a better start, up 1-0 on Ruinberg, and now CSA even gets to defend here, but it doesn't seem like CSA wants to camp either this round.
I mean, defense on Cliff and this kind of matchup in Ruinberg is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, and you can see now, this is what I talked about with the clip tanks in the city. Tape going there in the 50B, also the 268 before being diverted there, and now you can see the EBRs trading the info, but oh no, they are actually trading in shots as well, and you can see the 277s now directly by CSA going into that city again. They seem to be ahead from what I can tell, and we are not even going for the city, they're just crossing to the small village where CSA is not sending a lot of their forces. Also the 250Bs and the 2684 by CSA right now not effective at all, effectively out of the game, and Weird although they are losing a lot of HP now on the cross, they now have the numerical advantage in the small village, which they should be able to take.
It looks like weird by the setup of CSA read really correctly what will CSA do, which is not that hard. And they stop themselves in track so they don't get pincered in a city by 2Bs and 268, which would be used like a battering ram in that motion. Anyways, now CSA also stopped and they're rethinking what to do. I'm going to remind everyone that this is a weird attack side and CSA defense side.
Yeah, also I want to divert your attention to the 113 position in the small village. PJ, he actually took a really nice hold down there, from which he should be able to farm all the 277s if they don't spam HE back at him, which has started apparently. So yeah, overtime PJ should be able to trade nicely here. And also now we're seemingly deciding that it's time to go and push out the 0 line here. They are pushing in that small village and there's a lot of those angles which can be covered here. Xilka again putting in shot after shot here onto those pushing tanks on the 0 line, but it seems to be working out for Weird here. They're completely overpowering. The CSA reaction is coming in the middle, but right now it's all about this push from Weird here in the small village where they're just overpowering CSA, and it seems like Weird they're pushing, but they're losing so much HP for
I think you kind of misstepped there, mate, because there is a big fight also going on 5-6 line. That was a really logical conclusion for CSA to push there and overwhelm Weird with numbers. Also, they trenched up super good on 9 and 0 line. So initially Weird had some success, but they had to suffer more damage and they're wasting really a lot of time to defeat those guys. Mudrats is the last guy surviving out there, but there is also one more CSA tank that is still not deleted in the back. And there we go, he's down now. That would be Froly. But CSA is taking the game on a lower part of the map, which means they open the complete pathway to the cap of Weird. They can go cap with one guy, stall everyone else, or they can just, like, with this kind of HP, they can just drive upwards and kill them.
Yeah, I mean, look at the HP. 10k still remaining here for CSA and a lot more tanks. It seems like Weird just took too much time and too many tanks to clean up that small village, while CSA could just overpush onto those positions on the 7 line where a few Weird tanks were entrenched but couldn't withstand the onslaught that CSA was creating there. And now we can see Ben here, last remaining tank by Weird, 677 HP immediately getting picked up by Dexter. And yeah, CSA seems to like Runeberg so far from what we can tell.
Damn, man, like I prognosed 3-2 for CSA. I really expected a bigger fight. I mean, the first fight was super close, let's be honest. But CSA way better in this one. Way better positioning, way better judgment, how to position the tanks, how to defend themselves, to push. Like, you could even see that, as example, the fight started with prevailing number of Weird tanks. So they had really numerical advantage, but position-wise, CSA was really smart. They were doing huge damage, and all of those tanks on upper side of the village did more than enough.
Yeah, also
to buy time and bring their health of worth in the game.
Also, what's very important to notice here is not a single tank of CSA has below 1k damage. They were able to sort of keep their guns in the game. Even the initial ones that got picked up, they got to do a shot or two, and that's crucial here. As you can see, some of those Weird tanks only being able or allowed to do a single shot of damage, and that's really the deciding factor. Basically, the tanks by CSA that got pushed, they got to do more than the Weird tanks who were getting picked up immediately. And you have to really give it to the CSA players that they were doing it better on an individual level when pushing. And there we go, the leaderboard by damage, also just taken by the CSA players. I believe those are the ones who were mostly not in the village. I know Xilka was in the village, but Dexter, for example, and Cosmo, I believe they were the ones to re-push from the city into those 7-line positions. And yeah, it really spells a lot when the whole leaderboard is taken by just one clan, and the other clan, yeah, they're probably leading the leaderboard from below.
Well, this was a Ruinberg, which we haven't seen on tournaments in quite some time. I like to see it in this way when it's played faster without any campy games. So this is okay mentality, especially for tournaments. Next map we will be watching will be Live Oaks. You can dwell a bit on the stats here by shots fired, blah blah. But hits better for CSA. They were greeting the enemy and repushing. penetrations against CSA better. That's a really important stats. And the conclusion was really obvious. I mean, we already dwelled about it. We said everything that's to be said about it. CSA in this second round, way better.
Yeah, CSA, just convincing, you have to say. And yeah, there you see Dexter actually with 100% win rate, not win rate, hit rate, 89% penetrations. I mean, Funky tried to retaliate. He actually has 100% pen. But when the rest of your team isn't doing the same as you are doing, then yeah, even with a perfect game, you will lose in a 15v15. And yeah, moving on to Live Oaks now, that actually is one of the maps that is being slow played. I mean, you see here again PJ coming in. He was trying it, but yeah, moving into Live Oaks, you can see it's actually CSA's pick. We just watched Weird getting defeated 2-0 on their own pick, and now we're moving on onto a map where Sakalito has already shown that he and his team are very, very comfortable on it.
Dr. Saka on Live Oaks, definitely. I mean, they have really good track record on this map. Even in worst cases, they were usually playing 1-1. I haven't seen them lose 2-0 on Live Oaks.
Yeah, so even if CSA... Yeah,
so like this game, like I predicted 3-2 for CSA, but this might well enough end in 3-0, man, which is something I really wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. Normally, like the Weird team, they defeated Raid in the group stage 2-0, so I expected a lot from them. I expected good things, and so far we are to still see those good things from this German team. But yeah, Live Oaks, as I said, it's a map which you can slow play. You can push on it immediately, but most of the times teams prefer to go with Arty to get the info with EBRs and yeah, to...
It depends, like 1 RT, 2 RTs, no RTs, like the approach is pretty much doable with any of those. And depending on that, that's how you pretty much combine your strat. We will see what will these guys opt for. I seriously doubt we will see a team without RT completely, because other team can just see it, you know, and trench up and just farm you and stop you, because this map works like that. We will see Weird on defensive side here on Live Oaks, and CSA will be attacking, guys.
Yeah, it's always like that in a pick and ban system. One team picks the map and the other team decides what they will want to do on it first. So we're deciding they want to defend first. Obviously, as defender, you have a slight advantage. Not too much though, and here we can see actually no Arty by Weird here, who are up to 30,000 HP with not picking Arty. CSA only 27.5k with the Arty, triple EBR from CSA, so that should ensure the information. Only double EBR by Weird, so they are going to try to push somewhere immediately, and it seems to be the city.
Hot damn, man. If they actually don't catch some CSA tanks off guard, it's gonna be a painful period for them. Although they are defending. I mean, you cannot really camp against Arty when you don't have it. Anyways, EBRs are spotting each other and trying to deny the spot. Actually, that's the reason why Weird is doing this. They're doing super aggressive spot here, so CSA doesn't get any info where is the brunt of their tanks in the start.
Seago here with HE onto PJ not penning. I'm not sure I agree with that. You should always preload a PCR if you can in your EBR. And yeah, we now see though that the 277 push by Weird is actually being spotted here, and there should be a CSA reaction coming in soon. They need to react upon seeing basically the entire team of Weird being committed into the city here. The 430Us already solidifying that ground, pushing on further into those houses in BC45, and the 277's waiting for the moment, probably assessing the situation and trying to see what the 430Us and the EBRs are going to spot. PJ here in his EBR, he's trying to get the info. He's going onto that hill in front of him. He should see enemy tanks soon. But yeah, CSA smartly, obviously, having pulled back a lot. PJ taking another shot for his troubles, dropping down to a one-shot. Froley getting spotted for shooting him, but he should be safe behind that house. And yeah, we can see Salt in the 430U. Yeah, all the 430Us basically stopped in their tracks here by a Weird. CSA have, in the meanwhile, obviously taken H8 with their STBs, but yeah, although they are attacking, they don't seem prone to taking a lot of the map immediately.
Yeah, I wanted to mention exactly that. You can see CSA in this situation. Most of the teams would say, yes, we saw them there, now we must repush the other side. And CSA is like, nah, man, we don't have to do anything. We have Arty, they don't. We can protect our cap, farm some damage. and then see what to do. What they made sure is to create a good crossfire, a solid crossfire, so they can shoot, example, below their tanks on D7-8, so no one goes below them and farms them for free. They also made sure they are controlling the rail, so no one can climb up and shoot those tanks unspotted. They are spotting the A line, so no one can go from there. And now they will decide what will they do and with what amount of tanks. The only danger for them will be if they don't see the rotation of Weird on time, but they do have EBR on lower side of the map, and now they even position the 277 really, really far away. So if Weird actually does a huge pressure on lower side of the map, I think CSA tanks will mainly run away and counter push the city, and that would be a big problem for Weird. Weird already doesn't have one of the EBRs.
So Weird is
that's
down in
additional
EBR,
problem
and
for
they
them.
only had 2, and they don't have Arti. I mean, that's the problem here for Weird. You can see they started with a lot more HP, and the difference has closed now to less than 100. Less than 1,000, excuse me. And yeah, they CSA has pushed up a 277 in the south, and that will probably enable CSA to see the push coming in from Weird now without too much of losing tanks here. Now you can see the EBR from Weird preparing to spot out what CSA has posted there. The 2 CSA STBs already spotted here, the 277 as well, and now they're putting all their eggs in one basket basically with this push. They're gonna pick up Mudor for free here. The STBs farming away, Mudor dropping down to 850, and yeah, 446, 21 a one-shot now, but the problem is CSA having those STBs here with a gigantic DPM already hitting here. The Weird push just getting... they're just making Weird bleed for this one, Mojo.
Yeah, they're making the bleed, but these guys will be in a world of pain now when the hole is in the play. Weird has way more tanks here, so this STB and a couple other guys will get deleted, but CSA is rotating entire force of their team there. So they're gonna stop them, keep farming with Arti, and try to play a bit more from other side. This is not a bad play by Weird. I mean, at the moment they pushed away these STBs, I was expecting CSA to run away actually from here.
Yeah, the STBs
way
are
faster. Now they're farming
being...
from 2 sides. Look at this. Batshot and those guys are shooting them in the back. They have no safe position.
Yeah, the STBs being farmed from the front, from the back, now slowly falling. Kumstar down to a one-shot, getting picked up by Iridium Mangler. At the same time, CSA is trying to repush here on the 0 line, but the problem is those STBs they are sending, they don't have the HP to do that. It's all on Unji, who has to do it against 2 of his mirrored tanks, and at the same time, Iridium and the other 277, they are pushing up at H9, and they are being held on there. Radim cannot really counter-peek. I mean, he's doing damage to Funky now, but at the same time, Weird is taking the upper side with a triple 430U, and yeah, it's a static game here in the south now. It's calming down a little here in the south, but at the same time, those triple 430Us and also the 430U from G4 being sent through the middle now, they could do it all for Weird here, as there is not a lot of tanks being able to retaliate. Yes, there's EBR, but against 430Us, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, CSA, what they need to do now is kind of slow the game and make the damage and make the Tarty work, but we already saw that Combat actually missed a couple of shots, which is not good. Saka, Zilka, and Anji are stuck here in a hole. They will not get a lot of help. Also, the guys on D7-8 Progetto, he will be soon farmed from the guys from the other side. So not a really good position by CSA. As I said, I think it was a sloppy reaction in that moment when there was a push by Weird. They chose it and opted for a fight, which I think at that moment was a mistake, but this is how it is. Weird has way more guns in the game. HP is really close, but they have way more guns in the game, and that's a crucial factor at the moment.
They have way more guns, and they are also creating overmatches where they can. You can see here Unji now the last tank surviving for CSA in this pocket in J0, and he's getting pincered by 2 tanks. Now the push coming in, even onto Radim here, who manages to pick up one more, but getting killed in turn by Tex. And now the problem for CSA is they have no positions left. They are just cornered in their top right side of the map, and Weird can just pull back their one-shots and let this last EBR from them work. And yeah, you can see Funky in his Super Conk now in a really good spot here to spot and also to deal damage, hull down, and the Leo is going to cut off anything. Yeah, you can see Sith Destroyer killing one of the CSA tanks, and yeah, this is a problem here for CSA. If they get to push their EBRs through this 1-2 line, then maybe they still have a chance. The problem is there's one more EBR from Weird that they probably don't know about. Cosmo and Nalo right now both spotted. Actinium and Fire in my tank actually with a nice pickup, and both CSA EBRs falling in basically a second or two. Wilda in turn picks up Actinium, but the problem is CSA, well, they're down to 1 arty and 2 tanks, whereas Weird comfortably sitting with a lot of tanks still and also with the HP to go with it.
Well, Weird is coming back in the game. The comeback is totally real, and they're proving us they're not made out of the paper, and there is no reason that they cannot still come back into the match itself. There is only one guy, never mind that. Wilda is dead. No guys remaining from CSA, which brings a victory to this round toward the Weird. 2-1 current score for CSA. I really didn't expect this to go this way on this round. I really thought like CSA actually has a better control of the map, but Weird guys proved me wrong.
It seems like Dr. Sakalito has written his thesis about another map and not Live Oaks. Yeah, we can see combat top damage for CSA, but it's all about the Weird tanks here. The 277s all in the upper half mostly, and the Super Conk Zalander, he's got a lot to farm. But yeah, 3k damage in a Batchat, that's actually something I didn't expect to see. A Batchat on top, that really shows you how this meta changes.
Yeah, but you remember like when the rotation was done, those STBs pushed over the water side, and he was one of the guys clipping them in the back from the house. You know, from the little house above the swamp. So he was just clipping those 2 or 3 guys STBs in the back. They couldn't bounce anything, man.
Yeah,
and considering he was living for a longer time, it was easy to get a shot of here and there after. So his 3k is quite easy to understand. The 277s and the rest, actually, who had to fight point blank, like they took the brunt of the work.
Yeah, but it's so nice to see, like in this meta now, that tanks like the Batchats actually come back in fashion and are not even used as spotting tanks, but actually as very mobile damage dealers. And you saw 10-9-8 with a Batchat gun. That's actually a very respectable result because the gun
you saw a lot of guys in ranked playing Batchats, right?
Like Progetto mostly because it's OP.
But but they were like Batchats that you usually don't even see in randoms anyway, and they were like usually picking off guys like this. They wait for a chance, they clip out, run away, clip out, run away. That's how you do it. Well, damage board is a bit different in this one compared to the previous. So we have 3 Weird guys here, rather close. If you can see, everyone is around 3k damage. That's like a top damage in the game, which shows us that the game was quite equal up to a certain point.
Yeah, up to a certain point when it just got out of control for CSA and completely in the driver's seat for Weird. No RT working out for them, and I'm very surprised because they just took 2 EBRs. So yeah, I guess it spells that they would have a lot more fighting tanks. But yeah, still Weird with unusual tactics, surprising CSA here, I guess. Yeah, and 15-6 the scoreline, and we can see this time it's actually the Weird tanks penetrating and hitting their shots. CSA only 35% pen rate. That's
unreal.
Yeah, that's
unreal would be a correct word, man. I guess it's way harder when you don't have a chieftain, right?
Yeah, you can not sit safely, hold on, but yeah, we can see again Lemillion in his Batchat 10-9-8, and on the other hand, it is Combat who has 0% pen rate, but that's because he was playing an arty, and yeah, who did the most damage for his team. I mean, CSA was trying to get the arty to work. They did a sort of okay job to it, but then Weird just seemed to have CSA figured out, and then they just knew what to do, and CSA looked like, yeah, basically a school child getting shown the way.
I seriously thought they will like rotate way earlier with the tanks, so CSA, so they would be in position to counterattack because they saw them coming. I was just like too hesitant, I guess. But never mind that. There is still a chance for both yours and my prognosis to come to effect, or some third one, like God knows. Like I prognosed 3-2 for CSA, you 3-2 for Weird, I believe. So there is a chance for both of those. Or, I don't know, CSA can make a next round and just make it 3-1.
I mean, it's the first time in this tournament in which we actually have both teams taking rounds, so that's nice. But yeah, I think it's an open game. CSA having picked the map, they probably thought they would take at least one match, at least 1 point on it. So it will probably their attacking side, which should be coming up soon. But yeah, it's funny so far. None of the teams seem to be able in this match to convert onto the maps that they pick for some reason. It's very weird, no pun intended this time.
Yeah, as I said, I really don't remember seeing CSA losing 2-0 on this map, so there is a high chance they will actually take the next round, but I stand to be corrected by Weird guys. They have every chance to come back into the game and every possibility. It's just like about them mainly. So we will be watching them when they play their attacking side this time, and CSA will be defending, I believe.
Wasn't it?
No, it was
CSA?
vice versa. Never mind.
Yeah, CSA will
Yeah.
be attacking,
Yeah.
and we're gonna see if Saka made his doctor's thesis about attacking and not about defending, because this defense did not look solid just now this match, and we're back with guessing as to how many arties each team will bring. I mean, it's very unusual for teams on Live Oaks not to bring arties, so I guess all the other teams participating still in this tournament will be taking a close look at what we just did here to CSA.
I really need to see, because it appears that it's a bit mess up in our Excel files. We'll see later. Anyways, Live Oaks coming in. Second round, a match point for CSA because they still have the lead 2-1. And we already said the games today only, are played in best of 5 format. So who gets the third game wins.
Yes, whoever gets
Mr.
the third
Scarecrow
game.
proves.
Mr. Scarecrow, I believe he has been here quite some patches, has seen quite some things going on. And we hop into the game. We can see now the lineup. Weird again without an arty, this time with a double 268 for CSA, going for the arty, even for a T100 and double EBR. So that's the spotting department for CSA. CSA again starting with a disadvantage. This time it's only 1k HP, but I would say with the tanks they picked, it's very nice for them. Yeah, and it's actually CSA defending. They're going to send the T100 probably somewhere down in the water into a bush, and we can see Weird with a classic opening, 1 EBR left, 1 EBR right, but they again seem to be willing to take the city quite heavily.
And you pull the mind game like I pull on Ducky now. Just now, it's not fair. Seriously, I usually tell him in convinced voice something that is utter nonsense, and he just goes like, it must be true then, like whatever. Anyways, CSA playing again with that one arty, but they do have a Nalo in T100 this time. So that will require maybe some passive spotting in a bush, and you can see him from lower side of the base. They opted for that. They send the brunt of their force over the water side, combined with double EBR there, I guess, to chase away the spotter for Weird.
Yeah, Lemillion here in the EBR clearing out the city for Weird, but it's much more important what's going on the other side. Actual contact is being made there, and I believe some shots have been traded. As Fire in My Tank, you can see on the left, he's down to 528. I mean, Lemillion, he's completely cleared out the city now for Weird, so that's nice for them. They know there's nothing coming through there, so they're already rotating all the tanks back because of that info alone. And you just saw CSA. They had a lot of tanks coming to the 0 line, but now it's about the EBR spotting run being done by CSA here. You can see Cosmo is pushed up very far. I don't know. Yeah, he's spotted at the moment, so he has to keep moving. But this takes a lot of control away from Weird, who are pushing down the 0 line now. They have some tanks spotted, so CSA knows something is coming their way. And Sith Destroyer actually caught out in the open here in his Leo 1, getting picked up by the Progetto. That's not nice for Weird, but basically what Weird wants to do right now is push that 0 line, and they're doing that. They're taking it decisively, and those 277s by CSA that they have in G2 are not going to be able to help. It's the same thing that we just saw in the game there. Weird just over-pushing here with overwhelming forces into that H8 position, but this time CSA apparently a little better prepared. No tank getting picked up immediately.
This is way more different, because CSA tanks are actually now prepared to take the shots down their drain. They are not giving up any part of the map, so their tanks are not getting shot in the back like last time. They will lose a couple of tanks, but the trade is actually really good HP wise, and Weird will be stopped. Sigo will die in his BBR here, so that's a big minus. They will lose on potential spots, but we can see Cosmo and the rest of the guys are actually picking up some strand tanks of Weird. Also, Weird now has a couple of guys on the other side of the map, but CSA knows they're completely alone.
Yeah,
so now CSA, when they slow down this part of the map, they just need to counter push, kill them off, and they have entire map control for free.
Yeah, I mean, CSA seemingly wanting to solidify this game again, as they still do have Artie, and Artie is working right now together with the Progettos, putting in side shot after side shot. You can see the Iridium Feedy
Is
both
it
down
possible
to
they
one
don't know
shot.
Sigo is there? No, he's spotted, man.
Sigo is spotted, yeah. It's just that no one wants to commit on him. Now Sarlander turns for him. Maybe he will just go full Davai in his 2684, but I doubt it, as there is a lot of tanks from CSA actually aiming for him. And yeah, you can see he's taking shots now and he's backing off. He doesn't want to commit.
Wait,
and
they don't see him actually. No, they do now.
They do now. And
man, he's paying off so handsomely there. Jesus.
Yeah, Sigo, really nice play here by him. At the same time, one of the EBRs from CSA actually got picked up. That is because CSA is trying to counter push the north right now. They are not content anymore with just letting the Artie farm. But yeah, Sigo is really putting on a show here, I have to say.
I like this camo of Weird, I can tell you that. While we are watching the relocation of the tanks, I must point it out. This is by far the best one looking so far today. Anyways, counter push coming from those couple of tanks of CSA. As I said, AB line, they want to take it under control, so they have a better crossfire. While that is going on, Art is constantly farming this part of the map. It's just, ouch, again, another big one. Sigo paying off, spotting them close.
Sigo finally getting picked up though by one of the 2684s. That took quite a while, and you can see now the last remaining light tank from CSA has actually arrived in A9, but there are quite a lot of weird tanks to receive him there. It seems like they're eating him alive now. They're up, they're in the north, and yeah, the problem for Weird still being though that many of their tanks are just committed into the H8 pocket, but they seem to have mustered enough of their team to be able to hold the north, counter push it even. But the thing remains with combat now picking up here Actinium. The thing remains, it's actually Weird who has to attack against CSA. CSA doesn't need to do anything at the moment. They can just happily let the Artie farm.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I mean, CSA is more than happy. They have a lot of tanks on high HP. They do have Artie. They do have Weird spotted wherever they go. They are completely pinned down. There is a lot of guys on one shot from Weird also. Yeah, they maybe have one or two more tanks, but they also have 3D and Iridium on one shot both. And a couple of guys really close to them, like Lemmy and Fire in a tank. So both of their EBRs are 500 HP. That's not really much in EBR language. And I don't know, man, like Weird to pull this 5k HP deficit and really, really trashy positions at the moment is going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's going to be hard here, and it's getting made even harder minute by Combat, who's probably gone onto the block list of a lot of the Weird players, as he's just dealing punishment wherever he sees fit. And yeah, Weird now down 5k HP, and they still need to push. I mean, they're doing a rotation now with the 2684s actually over the zero line. They probably want to repush the city, but they have to watch the clock. It's only 3 minutes and 50 seconds now left, and Tabe and his Progetto, once those tanks by Weird actually get spotted, Tabe will have a field day. They're farming from the house in G4.
The thing is, like, I don't even know why Nalo died in his EPR, driving on that AB line up there in the enemy, you know? I'm like kind of thinking, and I have a feeling that he or someone forgot that they're actually defending. And after he died, someone more like reliable said, "Hey guys, like, you know, we are defending. We actually don't have to go there. We are quite okay. We can just wait, chill, relax."
Yeah, Radim now got spotted in his 277 in E2. That probably means that he's gonna tell his team, "Hey, there's something going on that hasn't been going on before this." So yeah, some CSA tanks are probably going to reorientate and go to the west, to the northwest of the map. We can see that happening with the 2277s and the Progetto, which are all still full HP, so they will happily receive any kind of push that Weird is going to throw at them. Weird, however, you can look at this now. Both the STBs, the 277 and whatnot, they are all aimed there onto the house. And once Tape or Radim, once they get spotted, they're going to have a very hard time here. Fire in my tank now in the EBR, getting sent to do the Papa Pavian move, spotting them. And now Tape here getting... Oh, that's such an unfortunate timing here for Tape, just getting caught out on the cross. And yeah, dropping down to 500, dropping down to a one-shot now. And yeah, there he gets picked up. Very nice play by Fire in my tank, who now can just try to feel out the entire CSA defense. One tank dropping entirely for free here for CSA, and now Shocker coming in with his 277. He's cross-firing Radim together with Fire in my tank. But what they don't know about yet is that there is more than this 1277 in the pocket in G2. They need to peek now, though, as Radim is getting slaughtered here. And yeah, Combat picks up fire in my tank.
It's actually Artie who picks him up in EBR, man.
Artie picks up the EBR, working as intended. And now we can see the CSA tanks, they've lost a lot of HP while the repush is happening in the south, and the HP gap is actually closing here.
It's closing in, but so is the time. 90 seconds remaining. I could say that and debate a bit that CSA again could place those tanks a bit different so they don't lose Progetto and 277 for free. They could have been more static, you know. But still they have that Artie, man, who can just finish off the guns in the game like this. Like, it's really nasty when you watch someone's future and he doesn't know it. Goddamn. And we still have those guys in the pocket, which Weird actually has to bypass. They have to go, they have to kill the 277s here and then commit in last seconds and try to kill the guys in the hole. Anji and Mudrits are here trying to do as much damage they can because it will matter for the guys who are remaining after them. 55 seconds.
Yeah, 55 seconds on the clock, and yeah, Mudra is getting actually picked up here, and now Weird has the gun advantage. It's CSA tanks with full HP, still 45 seconds remaining, and Weird also needs to still find the Artie. However, all the Weird tanks like Hungry Sharks now converging on those last CSA positions. The HP actually slightly in favor now of Weird. They've seemed to have done it again. Phosphor, though, going in too fast, too soon. It's 30 seconds remaining now. 2 full HP 277s and half HP Progetto against all the tanks that Weird can still muster. Weird now pushing in completely with the Ram, and they're gonna do it. 20 seconds remaining, 1300 HP on Wilder, and he's just standing there firing once more, but it's not gonna help. And with 13 seconds on the clock, Weird actually does it, pulls it back here in this game that I almost thought was over and done, and that CSA would have won it, but Weird in spectacular fashion, just within the nick of time, proving probably all of us watching wrong. CSA on their own map pick, getting
never give up, never surrender, man.
And yeah, we're actually, wow, yeah, what a game. As we can see the stats here, Combat 5k damage, really disgusting work here in his artillery. And then on the other side, we can see nice play by the 277s here. They're all up there with the damage dealt, also Daddy Tex with his STB1. And yeah, what a game.
I seriously think CSA threw this game, man.
Yeah, they had the HP advantage, they had the Artie, the positional advantage.
Leaving the Progetto next to the house there, like 277 stranded, losing Nalo up for nothing before, if you remember what I mentioned. Like, those three things, I think, completely decided the game in a favor of Weird. And Weird needed every possible help, especially by CSA provided.
Yeah,
to come back into this match.
It just feels like CSA gave this this game away as a gift for some reason. The thing is, CSA had everything they wanted, and then Weird just pushed. And what Weird did well and what won them the game is that CSA tanks, they were actually split, and that enabled Weird to basically create overmatches, one after one after one after one, and that way it was a cascade effect which secured the win for Weird with those 10 seconds remaining. And yeah, you can see shots fired almost equal, but it is again the hit, the pen rate that does it here for Weird. A lot more block damage by CSA, but yeah, Weird, it seems to be the people that have the higher pen rate that win games this tournament. And 15-8, I mean, it's a convincing scoreline, but if you look at the time left, holy moly, that was a close one.
I was like 13 seconds left, right? Something like that.
Yeah, he died at 13, but the game goes on for 5 more, so I don't know if it actually counts as 8.
It doesn't really matter, like...
it was close, let's put it like that.
Great comeback here by Weird. Daddy Funky doing the top damage with his 4k. No, I believe Artie was actually above. Combat did almost 5.
Yeah, Combat had 5k, but I believe we're seeing Kumster because he wasn't playing Artie. 62% hit, 62% pen. But yeah, Funky, again, he seems to be quite the marksman. 100% hit, 80% pen. And yeah, almost 4k damage to go with it. And also the win for his team, for Funky.
I wonder what tank he actually played. I can't remember.
I think it was an S-Conk. I mean, it's most likely an S-Conk since... yeah, he did 100. Oh, no.
No, that's Shocker.
Oh, that's Shocker. Okay, in the 277. But also in a 277, like 83% hit rate when you are most likely moving all the time is nothing to scoff at. The 277 gun is, I mean, it's a Russian gun, so if you scream the country name loudly, it mostly hits. But then again, like, it's a 490 alpha gun. The soft stats on it are not that good.
Yeah. Well, amazingly, and I really didn't expect this, both of the teams took the map that other team actually chose. So CSA won 2-0 on Ruinberg, and Weird won 2-0 on Live Oaks. We will watch a tiebreaker here, guy, which will be Himmelsdorf.
And it should be CSA picking who attacks or defends. Because I believe their Ruinberg attack was faster than the attack we just saw.
Yeah, this was let's see. Attack won by Weird was in first game. This was the defense by Weird.
What? I'm positive CSA was just defending.
Yeah. CSA was defending.
Yeah.
It's goddamn notes I had to rewrite after you confused me. On you, man.
It should be CSA picking. We should know any minute who gets to defend and who gets to attack on Himmelsdorf. And yeah, Himmelsdorf, one of the most classic and most iconic maps basically in the competitive map pool. I believe there was not a single season in which we didn't see Himmelsdorf because yeah, all the players like it. I think personally it's nice to watch as well. And yeah, there's a lot of action going on, mostly on that hill, which we are seeing just now, where autoloaders and hold-on tanks, fast hold-on tanks, mostly battle against each other. But then again, teams can opt for those 1-2 line pushes as well with a lot of tanks, just completely scrapping the hill. This 1-2 line, the rails, the famous rails. And yeah, we'll see.
Well, I actually opted for this conclusion. I only thought it's going to be 1-1-1-1 on other maps. So you're betting this game on Weird. I'm betting on CSA. 0-0 time, the teams are going in. We see some 60 TP action. Will it be like HE, like in ranked? Man, I really hated that part.
Yeah, the 60 TP, infamous almost for shooting HE and dealing damage with it. And we can see both teams not really going for the hill just now. There's a lot of CSA tanks on the K line getting devoted to that 1-2. CSA tactically going for the defense, picking it. And we can see a lot of weird tanks also in the 3 line. They are just waiting to see what fire in my tank here in the EBR spots. And now all those 277s here by Weird getting spotted. CSA probably getting ready to defend the 1-2.
Oh, CSA already has a death line there on 1-2, getting ready to pretty much greet Weird tanks. They have also a lot of tanks on the middle. So we will see how will this go. I mean, Weird tanks, they really need to start turning. I don't think they can break this.
They are bleeding so heavily, all those 277s that crossed over to the E1. They had to pay dearly for that one, and now all the CSA tanks in the 1-2 line, they actually had time to reload, and the 2684, which is getting pushed forward as a battering ram, he's not serving his purpose, as he's putting in one shot, but he's not bouncing a lot, and he's down to almost a one shot, and there we can see now the push coming in here from Weird on the 1 line. They are trying to win this match here with this push, and it's so many tanks here by CSA, and also 250Bs being able to clip onto the pushing tanks. And I think CSA is holding this. CSA's 6k HP advantage at the moment here. We can see Salt picking up Sigo Funky, killing Delphine, Saka killing Phosphor. It's just action all over the place. Weird slightly being able to solidify on the 1 line, but the problem is CSA with the HP advantage winning everywhere else. The courtyard completely won here, and now CSA probably reloading with their 50Bs, and then they will try to repush.
There is a couple of guys from Weird out of the game also, and CSA does have an advantage. Sigo and Wilda and the rest of the guys did a really good job surviving so long, but we have Actinium, we have other guys from Weird that are on 1 HP, 100 HP. I mean, like, if someone even looks at them wrong, they're gonna die. Combat and Tabe are waiting for the reloads, and there we go. They're coming back in their backs.
Yeah, see, the 50Bs are reloaded now. Blower probably sealing the fate here for Weird, as the 50Bs just able with their HP to roll in to just clip out the remaining one-shots by Weird. I mean, Weird ahead in tanks at one point in this game, but CSA just holding with their high HPs back, and now just coming in with the clip tanks to, yeah, basically mop up Weird here. Kick them out of the tournament. Funky, in a desperate effort with his 60p, was going towards the cap, now realizes it's all over. And yeah, CSA barely staying alive after those Live Oaks rounds. I mean, Feedy, he's trying to do more damage towards the stats leaderboard, but it's not going to matter. Froley almost full HP coming onto him, yeah. Feedy now raising his gun, the last tank remaining. It's Funky, which we saw perform admirably on the other maps. But yeah, against 7 remaining enemies, no chance there. And CSA stays alive, makes it to the semifinals. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Weird. Nice showing though. After being down 2-0, they actually manage it back into the tiebreaker, but CSA prevailing.
Yeah, they came back to the match really well, and I must congratulate them on that. Also, I can congratulate them on really playing it aggressive in every possible game. I think of all these 5 games, they were the more proactive team. The CSA was kind of trying to be more thoughtful team in every game so far. And at the end, it paid off on Himmelsdorf. But both of the teams did some really great trades. It was action all over the place, and I kind of liked it, man.
Yeah, I liked it, and also you have to give props to Weird for staying in this game so long. When you are
Actinium
down
was on 1
0,
HP on that trail, and his top damage in the game, man.
Yeah.
In his team.
Yeah.
Weird.
Also, look at Funky in his 60 TP. He was second by damage. That's also some nice play by him. Yeah, but in the end, it seems like the experience by CSA that it actually prevailed. You also have to say about this game specifically, CSA was well set up to receive that push on the 1-2. They had a lot of tanks there. And here, yeah, now we can see the damage leaderboard. Cosmo, Combat, Radim, and the FC Sucker, they're all on the top. Actinium on spot 5, he's the first tank for Weird. And yeah, this basically says it all about this game. The CSA tanks, they were ready to receive the push. They had stationary guns. They could just aim at the Weird tanks driving by. And this push didn't work out at all on the rails. No tanks being devoted to the hill didn't matter for both teams. They just battled it out here. And yeah, here you can see the penetration's only slightly in favor of CSA. However, the shots fired tell you what you need to know. Also, yeah, basically damage dealt almost 10,000 more here for CSA with a convincing 15-8 scoreline.
Well, it was an amazing game to watch. I also must say again, I really like the combos of Weird. I hope the Wargaming will release them in some moment or something like that, so people can maybe use them in randoms or whatever. We have first 2 semi-finalists already settled, so it will be tomorrow Raid against the CSA. And now after the stats parts are done and everything, we will watch second 2 matches of a day. That will be Nomi versus Tilt International and Invil versus Fame. That's gonna be pretty much like a cherry on top at the end of the day. We see the Bees here, who came in a late push. That was like pretty much the kill blow in this map.
The killing blow, yeah.
Yeah.
They also did an Amarek there for, I believe, 1100, which basically sealed an already done game. But I believe that's quite enough from us, quite enough theory crafting. We'll head over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much again, Mojo and Keyhand. Amazing casting going on there again. Somov, how did you see that going?
I mean, I got my prediction right, so I'm quite proud of that. I knew the Weird would have a strong showing. They looked pretty good, especially in the group stage. They beat Raid 2-0 on Muravanka, so they definitely... I thought they were a lot stronger than maybe other people would rate them. And CSA, obviously coming into the tournament, looked a bit weak as well, with poor performances in the groups, dropping a couple games against clans they shouldn't have. But CSA progressing to the semi-final against Raid, and that's actually going to be a rematch, I believe, of the last tournament, or the first. They met in the first round of the last tournament, where I believe Raid stomped them. I'm not sure. I think they might have picked up 1 or 2 rounds. I'm not sure.
Very forgiving phrasing there.
Yeah.
poor CSA.
I might be wrong. I can't remember.
No. They it was a somewhat surprised, I remember, in the last tournament of how quickly they got swept away.
People didn't really rate Raid so much in the last tournament until the final performance.
Yep. So I know we're going to be heading to the replay shortly, where your expertise is going to be in full flow. For that one, I was only 1 point missing from a correct prediction. I'm already resenting CSA for just like throwing that game clearly to just make me wrong and you right, and just clearly that's all they did it for. Oh wait, here we go.
Yeah, so this is the first game on Runeberg. I believe Weird picked Runeberg like because it's a different map. Not many teams have played it that much. They wanted to maybe pick up an interesting round. Weird, obviously, in the beginning they took a lot of tanks towards the middle, so they cleared out those tanks. And then CSA obviously pushed out the little city, but after the Weird tanks had pushed out the middle, they went back up towards the little city, and then they got caught out, and they didn't have enough support from the Super Conk and the other 277 in the back. But CSA, like usually the zero line push doesn't go too well for teams when you're pushing the little city because the tanks can be so entrenched on the zero line, and it takes you take a lot of damage for it. But it worked out for them in that game. It's the second game now. This time Weird on the attack. Weird pretty much went full zero line. They had a couple tanks in the 7 line, and they made the push. CSA actually had I think less tanks than Weird did in the previous game, and Weird pushing in here, obviously picking up Frolly in the corner. He's just getting surrounded by 5 guys. Meanwhile, CSA do the repush on the 7 line. They had double 50B in the 268 from the city that came through the middle, and they pick up all the tanks in the 7 line. Weird, obviously, I don't think they were very clinical on the 0 line. It took them longer than you might expect to pick up those tanks. Now we go into the first Live Oaks game. Weird, controversially, picking no arty, which means that they have to go for the full push at some point. They can't just sit around and let CSA wait it out, even though CSA is on the attack. Weird actually decided to take the aggression towards them. Weird rotating out from the city, they push towards the water side. They catch out Mud in his 277. I think the CSA STBs probably should have rotated out earlier in that case, because they got kind of caught out. I mean, they might have farmed a bit of damage, but I think they should have perhaps rotated out. And then eventually, Weird manages to rotate more tanks towards the 0 line and push out these remaining 277s, and at this point the game was basically over. Like, the HP is quite similar, but the positions that Weird can then take after taking the 0 line, they pick up, gonna pick up Unji for free, and then Radim as well. Yeah, it was a very clinical push by Weird. And then we go into the second Live Oaks game, this time CSA on the defense. Weird doing, again, another immediate repush. They have double 268, that's kind of experimental, not something you really see that much. And they push straight back into the water side, and they pick up, I think, 3 tanks for free, roughly? Something in that range. It actually looked like it was swaying back towards CSA's favor, obviously. They had the arty, which definitely helped them out a lot, and they did a lot of damage, but in the end, Weird making it work with a clinical push. They sort of crossfired Tabe, who was at the house at, I think, G4, G5. They crossfired him out, and they killed him for free, and then they slowly pincered CSA, and even though CSA led HP for most of the game, eventually it was too many tanks, too much DPM for CSA to handle. And then into the final game on Himmelsdorf, Weird really in with an all-in push down the 1-2 line. It's really a gamble. CSA's almost predicting it, you could say, by setting up with so many tanks on the 1-2 line, and they were just able to farm so much damage on the Weird tanks pushing down the 1-2 line that it was just too much for Weird, sorry. It was too much for them to come back from in that game. They just bled too much HP, and even though they do eventually clear out the 1-2 line, they're losing pretty much everywhere else on the map, and then obviously Combat and Tabe and their 50Bs can just come back in and clean up with their clips.
So, how many times did you make a weird tank joke? Any puns? I don't think.
No, I didn't.
Any.
I said
None?
raid a couple of times though by accident. I don't know why that popped into my head.
Because I'll be honest, in the first replay, I was like, "What does he mean? The weird tanks on Ruinberg?" They were all this like, "Oh, there we go." Yeah, the common sense approach coming on here. So we did see the tournament bracket so far. How so far that's been going on? Have you seen any upsets? Has it gone pretty much how you expected overall?
Pretty much how I expected. Obviously, I predicted 3-1 for raid against Batum. I thought maybe Batum would pick up one round at least. Unfortunately, they didn't for them. But pretty much so far it's gone about as expected. You know, raid going through comfortably. CSA just about getting through in that tiebreaker, but I thought that was going to be a close game. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for the next game between Tilt and Nomi, I'm just looking up at your prediction now.
Yeah, it's also going to be a close game. I think I had 3-2 for Tilt or something. Tilt looked pretty promising. You know, in the groups, I believe they beat Invil at 1.21. They also beat Trust in qualifying, so they definitely look quite strong, even if it's not the main tilt team, or obviously the raid team.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to highlight for everybody that everybody except Mojo went with 3-2 to Tilt. Mojo going with a 3-1 in favor of Tilt. So we're curious to see how this goes. The community voting at 70% for Tilt is not as high as a lot of people.
Yeah, it's more associated with the clan name. I think Nomi are definitely a strong team, and they can definitely take this series. But I think in more circumstances, Tilt will probably come out on top. You know, Nomi can definitely make it happen, though. They can definitely do it.
Yeah. So for those that haven't already, please make sure that you check out the giveaway links going on in the stream chats. We have our sponsor BenQ to thank for the monitors, etc. And then we're just going to play our nice little trailer video for our style as well as we head off to the casters as well. So thank you very much, Moff, and we're going to head off to Mojo and Keyhand.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You witnessed some kind of a crazy games between Weird and CSA. A lot of exchanges, a lot of shells flying around and brawls. And CSA at the end prevailed. So as we said, we have our first two semi-finalists already set up. It's Raid versus CSA tomorrow. But now we need to see what will be with the rest of the two teams.
Yeah, it is halftime for the first day of this Clan Rivals tournament. The first two matches of the day done and dusted. The second two coming up. The one we're going to watch next is going to be Tilt against Nomi. After that, Invil against Fame. And yeah, Tilt against Nomi. In this. And yeah, we can see Isa, the guy making the good lamps. The captain for Tilt here, actually also the commander of the clan, and a lot of players from all over Europe here. There is basically most of them have been on the top end of the competitive, playing for quite some time, namely Avi. Some people will probably remember CJ as well, all long-time trusted member. And for Nomi, we see the full Polish lineup. Sokar leading his team here into this tournament through the playoff phase. And the only thing worth mentioning about those teams other than that is that the Tilt team actually managed to qualify in the first qualifiers, where they beat the Trust team, which we also don't have this tournament. So yeah, this team here responsible for not having yet another German team. As we head into the picks and bans, Live Oaks and Mainz, Ruenberg and Muro, respectively banned by the teams, which leaves us with the classic Himmelsdorf Cliff. And for a possible tiebreaker, we have a map we haven't seen yet, which is Proco. All that aside, we're heading into Himmelsdorf for the first map. And yeah, what do you think we're going to see here, Mojo?
Well, Nomi will be defending and Tilt attacking. I also wanted to mention one more thing. Like we already said, Tilt International actually survived the group of death on this tournament before. Unfortunately, that part of the tournament was not streamed. So they were in a group with Invil, MVPS, and Devi, and they came on top. actually.
They came on top. They actually beat Invil in the last match 2-1, but all of that is done. We are now in the knockout phase. Losing a match means going out of the tournament, and here we can see it's actually Nomi defending, Tilt attacking, Nomi sending 50 Bs to the hill, but most of their other tanks towards the 1-2 line. Tilt seemingly not bothering with the hill at all. They're sending 260 TPs to the courtyard, into the windows, and the rest of their tanks is going full 1-2.
Well, this is a kind of interesting approach by Nomi. They have so many tanks to snipe the 3 line, but they have barely anyone on 1-2 line. How will they be able to control the map after that, and what will they do with those Bs? It remains to be seen. We have double 60 TP left over by Tilt to pretty much control the back of their sides, and Super Conqueror on C3. Everyone else is pushing in, and Bs, double Bs on B3. Mind them also, they're there to control the rotation of enemy Nomi team. So there will be a huge clash now coming in here. Leho with his 268 doing as a battering ram, but there is no really crossfire set up by Nomi. We saw what crossfire can actually do and how much it can decimate the tank. Evi, Aubrey, Whiterock, and Cunical already bypassing the Nomi ranks, and 430 of theirs will die. There's already first victims there.
Yeah, Tilt with a nice push here onto the 1-2 line. There was not much damage being dealt here by Nomi onto the push through towards the D to the G line. No damage was taken by Tilt, and that's serving them well here, being up 3k HP and already 2 tanks. The problem also for Nomi, there's a lot of tanks out of the game at the moment. Double 50B, the Super Conqueror, the 277, they're not getting anything done. And the thing is here, Tilt with the overmatch still in the 1-2 line. They're now encroaching into the 3 line, picking up tank after tank after tank, while the 60 TPs at the courtyard are still holding strong.
Yeah, they can see that they're losing the battle on the lower part of the map, Nomi, so they sprung everything else they had to counter push 8 line in the middle. You can see even that EB are harassing the 60 TPs, but there are the Bs of Tilt, I already mentioned. They are trying to contain that, and they have a Super Conqueror also who can help out, so that battle is also not going their way so well.
Yeah, the game right now is sort of stationary. However, Tilt with the crossfire onto those HJ3 tanks, that is working for them right now. And now Tilt is also coming to save the 60 TPs here. Sansan doing 3k, Blue Oil 3k. It's all the Tilt players getting in the damage, and they're in the lead here. 6k HP, 7k HP almost. And the problem for Nomi is their tanks are caught in between a rock and a hard place. There's no way for them to repush. They are trying now here on the K line, but the tanks immediately get spotted. Aubrey and Kunik and Whiterock, they all turn around. Jordan already down to almost a one-shot. GG Costa still has some HP left, does one-shot into Aubrey, but the problem here is it is just too little, too late on the K line here, as the rest of the Tilt tanks is encroaching through the 3 line, and Nomi, all their tanks in HJ3, they are still there, they are still getting crossfired, and yeah, Nomi, no way out of defeat for them in this game, as even Costa is now down to a one-shot. Yeah, basically all the Nomi tanks don't have HP anymore, and there's simply too many Tilt guns to be overwhelmed.
Never give up, never surrender, but this game is pretty much done and dusted. Only GG Costa is left on K3, and he's been hunted by no less than 12 Tilt surviving guys. Oh
Aubrey
dear, that's 15-3, man.
Yeah, that was a 1-2 push executed the way it should be. However, I have to get some criticism right off my chest on towards Nomi. Up until the Tilt tanks were crossing the second opening, no one had taken damage yet. Nomi had seen it all. They knew the push was coming, but there was no reaction, and even their shooting didn't hit. And as you can see here, yeah, Marcel by Nomi doing 3.5k, but the damage by the Tilt, by the Tilt team, that's exactly what you want to see. Blue Oil on top with 4k, and Sansan with a 60 TP. Big hits by him, 3.6k, and the damage is sort of evenly spread, right? It's only Shinobi below 1k, and you can see here, yeah, fantastic shooting, 10.99. The 5A gun is not the most reliable one, but still he manages to do it. And yeah, Manfred, 10.88 in the 50B. The shooting just on point for Tilt, and also the tactical decision making. For the Nomi side, you have to wonder, why didn't they react to this 1-2 push? They saw it coming long ago, but their tanks seemingly petrified. They were just sitting there, not doing anything.
As we said from the start, like when Nomi pushed all those tanks on like 3 line to snipe something, but they had nothing set up for 1-2 line. Like they had 1-4-30U stranded, and everyone else at corners. Like it's really bad approach. On the previous game, when we watched the match between Weird and CSA, we could see a textbook example when CSA was shooting, approaching weird tanks, how it should be done when you're defending. Like they deleted like 1 or 2 tanks before they even approached. They did so much damage. They did a lot of chances for them to counterattack later. Here, it just was not so.
Yeah, and you can see clearly here, shots fired in favor of Tilt. They make this, like, they win the game basically for them. It was just
but
the
that
Tilt
takes
tanks
up
not
because
getting shot
some
at.
tanks die and then you have more tanks shooting. But if you compare like the connections and penetrations, they're rather the same. So it's not about that.
Yeah, the connections and penetrations.
Nomi kind of shot themselves in their feet in the start of the game.
Connections and penetrations are the same, but you have to keep in mind it was the Tilt tanks pushing, and the Nomi tanks actually had the stationary guns. So the shooting by Tilt, in that sense, was done so much better.
But yeah, that's what we said, man. Like, Nomi actually was not in position to snipe anything. They didn't do any shooting required on a start. So all the shootout started when Tilt was already in position to fight them head on. Like, and they already had better positions.
Yeah, all those tanks in the 3-line initially, they got nothing done. They got nothing for it. I don't know if the spotting wasn't good enough, but I believe the Nomi EBR actually went quite aggressively on the 1-2 line. So they should have seen the tanks. And yeah, it's just down to Nomi not reacting well here. And obviously, Tilt executing the push as it should be done. It is also, as we can see here, Nomi's pick. Nomi being down 1-0 on their map pick. Picking maps seems to not work out here for teams today.
Yeah, today it's kind of a bad karma. I need to cheer a bit here for Tilt because they have like one of only 2 Balkan guys in the tournament. Like there is Nikod there and there is Josef in Fame, man. And Nikod is even a former Kazna player, so I'm going to be a little biased there. Anyways, prognose for them to win this. But as we saw in the last game, like comebacks are real. Nomi can just reset their mindset in the next game and just like prove us wrong, man. Like whatever you predict, that's just like paper pushing. It has no merit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's really hard to predict those games here. Now, of course, Nomi obviously will be attacking, I believe, as they were just defending. And yeah, here we go. The setups, again, 6 CTPs coming out here for Tilt. They seem to trust them very well. Double 50B for both sides. We'll see where those commit. Also a bad chat here for Tilt. That's a very common pick here. Bad chat also for Nomi. They're going to clash on the hill. And this seems to be a more standard game here from Tilt. They're not committing a lot to 1-2 line. It's rather hold bottom side and go hill with everyone else.
And those 60 TPs are quite survivable and annoying, I can tell you that. But anyways, in this kind of the game, we see a completely different mindset by both teams. We have a vast majority of Tilt going for the hill and opting for that, while Nomi is sending a couple of guys there, but they're like more map-wise controlling. They have a lot of tanks spread around. If Tilt actually manages to utilize and use this, if they catch a couple of guys off guard of Nomi on the hill, they can easily take the game.
Yeah, you have to take a look though. Nomi immediately pushing 277s aggressively through the courtyard. Sansan bleeding for it down to 1700 HP, and Tilt doesn't even know about the 268, the 277, and the 430U pushing
they're
the
hesitating.
rails.
They need to bring some tanks back. They should know what's cooking here, man. Like, this is too aggressive to have many people on the hill. So Tilt need to opt for taking the hill because they know there will be someone, but it's a measure. How many tanks you actually send up and how many tanks you return, because they are totally losing the lower side of the battle already.
They are losing the lower side, however, Nomi is leaving the hill right now. They need to be careful not to lose too much to the Tilt tanks on the hill. However, right now the Tilt tanks in the G line opting for the tactical retreat because they cannot, they cannot hold all of this. And now the Nomi tanks, they came down from the hill fairly unscathed, never with 1 shot of damage taken. But yeah, it's going to be the Tilt tanks chasing now. They have the hill. They should probably leave 1-2 snipers. The Batchat already doing just that. And while all of this is going on, Nomi is actually pushing out the 1-2 line.
Yeah, I can't believe that Tilt is actually even leading 2-0 in this situation, and they have like 5k HP advantage. Now it's gonna be all about the capping game because Nomi has, I think, only that chance to win this. They need to try to cap and they need to prevent Tilt tanks from decapping them. And on other side, they don't have really much to deal with their own base, but Tilt just doesn't give a damn about their base. They're sending everyone from the hill in a pincer attack toward their own base. I think that's actually a correct move because they're opting for a brawl and they do have advantage there.
It's gonna be a cap race though, 20 seconds on the clock as Tilt is trying to hustle back to their own cap. They're just overrunning all the Nomi tanks in the side, and yeah, Tilt in time back to defend. They have a lot of tanks here actually going onto those defensive shots onto those people on the cap, but they are getting crossfired here from those tanks in J3. They are bleeding heavily for it, but it seems like it's working out so far for Tilt because the advantage in HP that they have, it's still going strong for them. I mean, a lot of tanks from Tilt now getting picked up on the cap, but they have so many more to just throw at those capping tanks, and meanwhile everywhere else Nomi's just getting slaughtered.
Way better reaction by Tilt and gameplay. I was a bit worried when I saw how many tanks they sent uphill, because I expected Nomi to make them pay way much in the start, way more. But it didn't happen, and Nomi is paying the price. They're gonna lose this map 2-0, only 2 KHP staying in the game. Only last guy, a super conqueror who was defending the base, Yami, being buried alive, but the rest of the Tilt team.
Yeah, and we see yet again Nomi with the map pick Himmelsdorf, losing it 2-0. I mean, Yami still picking up Aubrey, but getting finished off by CJ there. And yeah, a quick 2-0 here for Tilt on Himmelsdorf. Nomi really needs to reset their mindset now, as Tilt is on a match point now. One more loss and they're out of the tournament.
Yeah, this was like a really 2 big losses, you can say. None of these games were really close, so Nomi is pretty much getting stomped at the moment. Big plays coming in by Tilt.
Aubrey, nice play there with the Batchat, top damage. Sansan again with the 60 TP in the second spot. He apparently really likes that tank. And yeah, we can again see the damage evenly spread almost amongst the Tilt players. For the Nomi players as well, but then they have 2 tanks with 0 damage just getting picked up. The Batchat only 1 shot, the other 50B 1 shot of damage, 1 kill. I mean, that's just not...
This is what actually shocked me. You know, you when I saw Killer was one of the first guys to die from his team. And so they had that secondary team toward the hill, and then they ran away with them. You cannot have your 50Bs doing nothing, man.
Yeah, the 50Bs
those should be the best players. They should be aware of what's going on the map and stuff like that. You cannot have a 50B doing like 500 damage in entire game, 0 damage and things like that. You know that things are going really wrong. On Himmelsdorf, if you have guys who are supposed to do clips and run away and do clips again and run away, you know...
Yeah, it should be the 50Bs being the last players to die. Normally, the other tanks should drive in for the 50Bs, take the brunt of the enemy shots, and then the 50Bs get to clip out freely and then have to run away and reload again. That was just not working out for Nomi. Also, it almost seemed like Tilt wanted Nomi to cap, because they immediately had heavy tanks pushing right back into the cap to reset it, and also at the same time, the rest of the team was just clearing Nomi everywhere else. Yeah, Nomi just, you have to say, getting outmined, getting outplayed on every level here. The scoreline is 15-7, but the game was never even close to being close.
Yeah, Yami, top damage dealer, and he was the guy defending the base for Nomi. That says a lot, man. I don't know, man. Like, I'm really surprised that actually Tilt managed to pull back those 60 Ps from the center without them dying. Like, they were heavily pressured by enemy. There was Nomi tanks all over the place, and they still managed to run away with such slow and bulky tanks. Like, how?
Also, I mean, it says there Sansan too bad for 50B, but with the numbers he keeps putting up, he might be considered one of the top players on his team, so maybe consider putting him on a 50B actually to create some memes. We'll see how this one continues in this tournament. However, this is Himmelsdorf all done and dusted. The next map we're gonna see is Cliff, which is actually Tilt's pick, so we might see Nomi winning, who knows? And yeah, what do you expect there?
Well, so far Nomi didn't really show us much, man. I mean, there was aggression here and there was a plan here, so I kind of liked their opening, but I don't understand why they sold out those tanks so easily, and why did they let those 60 TPs run away so easily. So it doesn't seem that there is a big depth behind their plans. It was lucky on first game of Himmelsdorf. Like, they didn't really compose how their tanks should be. Maybe they have a greater understanding of Cliff, but Cliff was still Tilt's pick, not theirs. So like this might end as well end in the next round. Like, it might be 3-0, not 3-1 as I thought.
It might be. Yet again, as I told you, the people picking the maps are usually the ones losing on them, so we'll see what Nomi does. But yeah, I too am confident here for the Salt Mine for Tilt to at least take one map or one round on Cliff and thus advance to the semifinals. But we'll see what happens. It's like the last match already was crazy, and this one, it looks like a stomp now, but you can never say what will happen.
Was Alsan playing 60 TP?
Yes, he was.
Oh man, did he spend 2.5k gold in hoping he will hit someone in 50B with his 60 TP in a game?
No, he was not getting picked in advances in his 50B.
Oh, too bad.
And so he renamed to,
Well, that's a good investment, and that's how you should donate to Wargaming, guys. Just rename. Keep renaming.
But yeah, Himmelsdorf done and dusted. As I said, we are on Cliff now. This beautiful reworked map. And do you know who's actually defending? Who's attacking now?
If you don't mess with my mind again, Tilt is defending.
Okay, Tilt is defending. So we'll see if they bring an arty or not. It's again here this thing with the middle aggression that will work for both teams. However, we'll see if people go to the donut or not. But there we go with the lineups. Evi actually getting picked in an artillery for Tilt and Manio for Nomi here. 2 EBRs actually for Nomi, while only Panuka plays that one for Tilt. And it seems like Nomi wants to go... Nomi defending wants to go all tanks on the upside. And now Herv's in his EBR. We'll see what he can do.
Interesting. I'm watching the Excel and says vice versa, but never mind. Nomi is defending here, so that's all that matters. Tilt is attacking. So we will see double EBR on upper side, only 268 cent on one line from Nomi and Arti to cover the middle. A brunt of their force is sprung out for the push, STBs and the rest of the tanks, so they do want to brawl. And we've seen this play with EBR going around the watch house here, because if there is a brawl in the middle, he can actually pump the damage from there. We've seen it on one of the tournaments before. He can actually do a couple of thousands of damage even from there.
Yeah, and we now see the EBR putting the hurt onto the STBs, and Nomi happily taking the middle with the STBs while also pushing their 277s towards the donut. And I think that's a good play, because there is some Tilt tanks now coming into the donut, but they're not quite yet, and they will be received by the 277s. However, it is a 4 against 3 now that the 2684 has been bypassed, and this will be one of the crucial points of this game. Who will be able to win? Some of the Nomi tanks turned around already, some of them still facing the Tilt tanks, and the Tilt tanks just shooting away at the Nomi tanks, who are just completely out of position, just getting chewed alive by the STBs and the 277s. Hold on, and this is not looking good for Nomi at all. They're trying to be aggressive in the middle, but it's not working. The Nomi HP is just dwindling compared to the Tilt one, and the Nomi tanks, they just seem to have the worst positions here.
Well, they're still brawling, but there is a crossfire here from the Tilt toward them also, like the arties are 1-1. Also, we have a Leopard on Tilt side who is kind of containing them. Whenever they peek too much, he will pick up the damage, The hill control is in Tilt side, and that all goes and combines. And we have a plus and plus and plus and plus and damage, and they're just gonna stack up. And I don't see a way out for Nomi here unless they develop some super duper skills, man, like Trump says, and try to win by pure shooting.
Yeah, I mean, those EBRs, they are basically the trump card here for Nomi. As they are there, they can roam freely on that D8, D9 position. They can put in shots for free, but their DPM is so little that it's probably not going to be enough. And we can now see Tilt bringing some tanks into the middle again, probably preparing a repush. Already, Killer and Sokar both falling in the middle, and this is now a game in Tilt's hands. They just have to be careful not to throw it. You have to keep in mind the Leo in the back is still full HP. That's 2k HP out of the game, so in reality Tilt is not leading by as much. But I believe they can, with that hill control, they can just do so much. You can now see the Leopard by Nomi also going over 3k damage, so he's putting in the work. But the problem is Tilt still has 2 bat shots around the hill, somewhat healthy. They are now pushing their Leo with them, and meanwhile the 2684 by Nomi is getting eaten alive by 3 Tilt tanks here. And yeah, Nomi losing position after position. They just have some people behind the hill, plus the Leopard now. But since Panuka the Fool is up there with the EBR, not in a foolish position though, it's gonna be Tilt picking up this game.
I catch some breath, mate, here. I see that those trump cards didn't really work out. Also, the problem was that the majority of the HP for Nomi was on 268, who was alone on 1-2 line. And when he even showed his face, he was met with 3 tanks shooting him and tracking him, and he didn't even fire a shot, I think. So really, not the greatest game for Nomi here. Tilt under control entire match. Only Manio in Arti left here, and he's not gonna last very long.
Yeah, Nomi going the way of Alpha here, not picking up a single game in this stage of the tournament. And it is a convincing win by our third semi-finalist, Tilt. Congratulations to them.
Tilt International passing by. There is really not much to say about this match, man. Like, you could say Nomi tries on maps, but you can always see that Tilt is one step ahead.
That is such a hard thing to say about someone, though. You tried, and, well, in the end, it didn't even matter. I mean, Justek in the Leo he was supposed to farm, he did 5.3k. I believe that's the highest damage number we've had so far in this tournament.
Yeah,
But
actually,
on
only
the other
Arti was
side-
close to that once.
Yeah, and on the other side, Dandley just responding in fashion. 4.6k, the Leo, that position, it's just so good at what it does. Just putting on the hurt with that sniper gun. It's yeah, it's a joy to play. And yeah, both Leo players showing it how it's done, with the better end for the player from Tilt.
I was wondering, like, if people play Artis on a cliff now, will they opt for 261s or GCs? Because, you know, there are plus and minuses. If you want to play really aggressive, 261 is a great choice because you have faster DPM. You can finish off those low HP targets and still keep people stunned. But GC has a bigger, you know, punch. It can hit on the corners where 261 can't. So whatever, 3-0 here for Tilt International. And as he said, they will be our third semi-finalist, and we are just waiting for the final match of the day, which will be Fame versus Invil, and definitely a cherry on top. I really hope for a great battle there.
Yeah, I mean, the match, Fame against Invil, I think both teams weren't happy with getting that particular opponent because both teams are known to be very strong. And yeah, it's definitely a cracker of a match. I believe it was even like the semi-final of tournaments before this. So we're definitely in for a treat. But yeah, as we can see here, the damage leaderboard, Justek, obviously with that crazy performance on his Leo, and Dandley coming in just below that. But other than that, I think it was about the positioning rather than the individual player skill this game. Tilt was just reading Nomi to a point when the Nomi tanks just got picked off one by one. If you think about those 277s at the donut, they just got slaughtered. They had to turn around on open ground, then they got fired. And basically the Tilt players had free shots on their backsides. It was just not pretty to watch if you're a Nomi fan. And yeah, the total stats for this game, I mean, as I said, it's not about the individual player skill this game. It was just the reactions were done so much better by the Tilt side. And obviously for Nomi, not getting an EBR onto the hill did not help.
And I don't know, did you notice, but Saltsan's name didn't even fit the bracket, man. It's going over the line. Anyways, guys, our analyst segment is ready. Iki and Moff will have quite a lot to say about this, and let's see what our best EBR player has to comment about these guys.
Thank you very much for that again. Those were fairly fast games, so that was over pretty quickly. What did you think about that one, Moff?
It was definitely more of a ruffle stomp than I maybe expected. I think maybe a lot of people probably expected Nomi to come out a bit stronger than they did, but Tilt pretty clinical. 1-2 line push in the first game. The other game as well. They're pretty clinical, repushing their own base, and the last cliff game. Obviously, I think Nomi made probably more of a tactical misplay, but Tilt obviously like they made the correct moves to punish them for it. But
yep, I think everybody's predictions just went out the window there.
Yeah.
With Tilt being very, very, very convincing. I know the replays are going to be coming up shortly for you to then show off all your EBR expertise. Little raised eyebrows there.
Yeah, so the 1-2 line push in the first game, I think Nomi kind of mispositioned. I think they wanted to maybe push through the 3 line, which is why they were all set up in like G3 in the beginning. So they couldn't put enough punish down on the Tilt tanks pushing towards the 1-2 line. And so obviously Tilt pushing in here, they get a couple of overmatches. Matrak gets caught out by 5 tanks as well. And these Nomi tanks just sort of get stuck on the corner and they can't really leave, they can't really fight them either. They're just sort of crossfired and they can't really do anything in this situation. They tried to push towards the 8 line. With their double 50B 277 as Super Conk, but Tilt has a decent crossfire there. They have a 50B set up in C8 to crossfire them if they want to push on towards the 60 TPs, and that works out well for Tilt as well. And Nomi sort of just losing everywhere on the map now, just bleeding in positions, bleeding in HP as well. They just seem to be caught off guard by Tilt pushing 1-2. Maybe they just didn't expect it. I'm not entirely sure, but they took a little while to reposition as well. Now we're going to the second game, this time Nomi on the attack. Nomi sent some 50Bs towards the hill in the beginning, but they didn't really do much because they had to run pretty much immediately. Meanwhile, Nomi was taking control of the courtyard, but the Tilt tanks that were in the courtyard, importantly, actually managed to get out, or like they managed to survive for much longer than they perhaps should have. Dandley and Immensive, they shouldn't really have survived there, in my opinion. And then obviously Tilt coming back in, re-pushing. Nomi didn't really have a proper crossfire setup, so the Tilt tanks can just come in and re-push and kill all these guys on the cap circle for free. And obviously Yami in the back in his Super Kong did farm a lot of damage, but it was sort of late game irrelevant damage at this point. And yeah, another clinical win by Tilt. And the final game on Cliff, I said at the beginning, I think that Nomi perhaps made a tactical misplay, because the EBR in the beginning he gets the spot on what's coming up, like to the upper side of the map. So they know that realistically there's probably like maybe four or five Tilt tanks on towards the 1-2. So I'm not really sure why they tried to go towards the donut. In my opinion, they should have just pressured mid and just taken the overmatch on the middle and just killed all the 277s and the STBs from Tilt. But Tilt punishes them for it. They push up to the donut and crossfire them from the mid and from the F3 position. And from here on out, it's just about Tilt picking up the remaining tanks. The Artie gets a couple shots in on the 5As in the middle as well. But yeah, it's a good showing from Tilt, but I think Nomi perhaps underperformed a little bit or didn't do as well as we might have expected.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that the sort of the limitations in the poor performance was more down to personal skill levels, the difference between the players, or tactical?
I mean, you know, obviously the players always have an impact, but particularly on the last Cliff game, I think that was more of a tactical decision rather than individual misplays. The Himmels games, I think it was the second game was definitely more player skill. I think the first game was more tactical. It was kind of over from the first 2 minutes, if we're being honest. It was just about farming through that remaining HP that Nomi actually had there.
Yeah. So just before we head off to the casters, I want to show the tournament bracket so far again, just so everybody can kind of see what's been happening so far and what we can expect to happen tomorrow. The next game will decide who goes forward and faces Tilt now. So the next game is between Fame and Invil, when I say it right. Who are you expecting out of this one?
I said earlier I've been flip flopping on it all night because they are two very strong teams. Invil unfortunately haven't had like the best showings in previous tournaments, but they really trying like they really want this, and it would mean a lot to them if they could beat Fame and knock them out of the tournament. But particularly Fame's sort of resurgence, playing the campaign and stuff, and they've been a lot more active recently, and obviously Daki coming as well. I just think that they might edge over Invil.
Okay. Well, I voted for Invil to win just because of what you said earlier, where you kind of didn't want to do it and betray the Fame following.
No,
so
it's not a betrayal. I have no like allegiances. I just think that when it comes down to it, I think they will just edge it in the end.
Okay. Well, here's hoping your prediction as well, and we'll hand you over to Mojo and Keyhand, who are going to take you through this final game of the day, and let's hope it's going to be as good as it looks.
Welcome back, guys. We are here for potentially the match of a day, Fame versus Invil, as Moff already mentioned. Some of them had a bit of bad luck in last tournaments. You can't even call it bad luck, man. Like Raid won the last one 4-0 against Fame, so there is no luck involved there. But we are talking about pretty much the strongest European team still, with the most prize-winning in tournaments and so on and so on. So really long history there for Fame. Invil, on the other hand, like really aggressive Polish team, always at the top of the game, but never at the top of the tournament at the end of the day. And I think this is something they lack the most.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple third places, but they've never really been to the finals. And as we can see, the predictions of the community, they are clearly biased towards Fame, 82.5%
It's way more than
almost.
I expected, man.
It's way more than I expected as well, because Fame has
was
been
this poll shared in Polish community?
I'm not sure, but yeah, we can see the Fame lineup. I mean, you probably know every player on there by heart. Ducky probably being the most notable addition since the last tournament. However, Insane still the commander-in-chief here. For the Polish guys, it is Call Me Piotr and his boys, only Polish people, and also all of the probably like most all of the names known to people playing competitive. There's people like David, Demon, Konrad, Ketsai, Lucky, you know them all. Yeah, it's very experienced players, very experienced teams. It is a treat of a match to watch. It is very early for such a match in such a tournament. But yeah, we'll have to say goodbye to one of the favorites for the tournament title, I would say, in this match, as I basically I expect Fame and Invil both to be amongst the contenders for winning it. But yeah, one of them has to go today. We'll see how it is on the maps being played, which are Himmels, Proc, and Cliff. Live Oaks, Morrow, Ruin, and Mines being banned. And yeah, Invil immediately with a very curious pick of Himmelsdorf. Normally, Himmelsdorf is considered the Fame map. However, last tournament it was shown how to hurt them on it. Fame will have probably adapted to how they lost last time, but we'll see what happens there, and then we'll at least see one match of Proc, as this is best of 5, Fame's pick actually, and then should it come to a tiebreaker, we have Cliff.
Yeah, if it comes to tiebreaker, we will watch Cliff, which is quite a peculiar map for that role. Himmelsdorf is by far the most interesting what I want to see here. Like that kind of brawl between aggression that Invil can do and Fame can also do, or play more tactically. There is like this saying that if Invil push gets stops in a track, they usually lose a game. Now we will see, did they grow from the past tournaments toward this one? Because their pushes are super, super hard to contain. But in the past, some teams proved us that once they do that, they can actually break them.
Yeah, Invil, one of the teams known for, almost YOLO pushes, but they do it in a very convincing fashion. Invil is one of those teams that thrive on aggression, always push, never stop, and have good focus fires, catch the enemies by surprise. That's how they do it. That's how they play best. They tried to camp one game last tournament. It didn't go well for them. I don't expect for them to do the same this time. I am expecting to see very nice, very funky matches in between those two teams. Obviously, Fame, they can play aggressive as well. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, very tactical as well, because both teams will have prepared and thought about what the other might do and try to counter it. And yeah, just a treat of a game to watch. What can you say?
Man, whenever I see on Himmelsdorf on tournament, if someone tries to camp, part of my soul dies. Seriously.
Yes.
Like, that's not something I want to see. And I really don't expect to see it on this match. We will be watching Invil on attacking side and Fame on defending. First on Himmelsdorf. I really have no idea what to expect on them from the start. Like, both are more than viable to do whatever. Like, they do know how to push. Yes, Invil maybe likes to push more, but they can also play slower. And as I said, like, it's a moment to see how much they matured. Like, for Fame, we need to see, are they sinking back in? Like, they had a lot of time to prepare for this tournament. I know for a fact they didn't prepare that much for the last one, but that is no excuse. Like, Raid was just playing better.
Yeah,
nothing
Raid,
more to say there.
Raid was
like,
just
and
played
Raid
out
also
stomping
beat
them last
Invil,
tournament.
like game before that, like in a tiebreaker. So they more than deserve to win that one. But we can debate a lot of things. Like Duck is back with his old crew here, so that's an international team that has some merit. And we will see like how they sink back in. Like, it's also different types of thinking. Like, are they okay with the stress they will play?
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's a
super
paper that
interesting.
remains to be filled now.
Yeah, we're gonna find out about this soon. I mean, I guess if Ducky fits in well and if he gives good calls to Insane, it will be very hard for the Polish team to win this. However, Himmelsdorf is one of those maps where you can do surprising stuff, where you can do funky pushes, and if Invil manages to catch Fame by surprise, they should have no trouble whatsoever picking it up. And yeah, it has all been said now in between those two teams. They have been long-time contenders. They have been long-time rivals. And yeah, as we hop into that first game, Fame coming in, sitting on a comfortable 34,000 HP, triple 60 TP it is actually, and an EBR. That's some very interesting stuff, double 50B as well. And Invil coming in with triple 50B, no 60 TP, double bat, and a 2684, as well as an STB as the most notable tanks. Now, Fame directly heading towards the middle with the 60 TPs, as well as one Super Conk and committing everything else to the hill. And Kamil with a very nice spot here, going onto the rubble and seeing everything that Invil is bringing to the hill,
mighty
Mojo.
armor of EBR. And I like this kind of spotting. This is really interesting, not something we often see. We see the use of these 60 TPs also. That's kind of interesting. Like all the teams are opting for them now when you can't use chieftains or anything else. Ilin and Daki playing the anchor, and Shoki, Sean 8-line Kaizo is playing the 3-line spot. So they're completely abandoning 1-2. They're just gonna try to decap and they're fighting for the hill. That's the Fame play. Invil, on the other hand, doing something similar as Nomi last time, sending on a couple of guys there, and they're opting for some kind of map control and maybe push on 1-2 line.
Yeah, Piotr needs to be super careful there on the hill with his bad shot. Feeling now getting spotted on the hill with his 50B, already trading a shot there. But Invil seems to be, with those tanks on the 1-2, somewhat hesitant to push. I think they're thinking that there might be a trap on the 1-2 line from Fame, but yeah, it all depends on the push by Fame on the hill, which we would see if the picture wasn't stuck.
Yeah, we again have a slight issue with the feed, so I have no idea what is going on, and I would really like to see it.
I would love to see it, and I guess we're definitely gonna see a replay of that. Meanwhile, we can only theory craft about what is going on that hill, on that crucial position right now. I mean, you saw Piotr pushed up in the bat chat and trading against Feli.
We can debate about a couple of things, like Piotr pushed and they are trading, but Fame has more tanks on the hill. Like they're
Fame
not
has
spotted.
definitely more
they're
tanks
not
on the
spotted
hill.
and they're coming there. And also, let's not forget, like Kamil with his EBR spotted the rotation of they know pretty much exactly how many tanks.
Yeah, also the
Invil
tanks
has
on the
there.
1-2. Yeah, also the tanks by Invil on the 1-2 line so far hadn't made a move yet, so they were pretty much out of game. That's very important to keep in mind. And I'm told we should be ready soon to hop back into the game, so hopefully that's gonna happen. And
Never worst moment to happen, man. Like seriously, of course,
And
there will not be a replay because teams already played and they don't care like if we do our part of the bargain or not. We have a big battle here and it's actually not really traded well for Fame. They are doing okay HP wise, but tank wise they're losing all over the place. There is a huge pressure on lower side of the map by Invil. They're pressuring the 60 TPs and the cap is going on with double tanks. Also there is a big fight on a hill and it's totally not decided by any side. There is fight all over the place, man.
Yeah, the fights are going on all over the place. It seems like Fame is winning the hill, but so far no advantage in HP for either team here. And we see the face-to-face in between Ducky 60 TP, who manages to pick up the kill, and now it seems to be tilting in Fame's favor as Invil tanks dropping left and right there. HP for Fame also dropping a little, and they seem to have the crucial resets now. Barry and Mary, they both need to make it happen here against Demon and CJ. They are pushing out of the cap, getting picked up, and it seems like Fame is taking that one home. It's not over yet though, as Fame has a lot of tanks on the hill, a lot of HP, a lot of guns committed there, and now Fame needs to be careful here on the downside. Ducky's there still sitting on a lot of HP with his 60 TP, but the problem is he doesn't have the DPM. David and C3 both going onto Ducky now. Ducky doing a big shot onto C3, who's a one-shot, getting picked up by Elian, and now it seems like Fame can even stabilize on the lower side while their tanks are coming down from the hill. Mumek 13 centimeters long on a one-shot now as well, and it seems like Fame, by the nick of time, they just managed to make it back to the cap. They managed to have just enough forces on the lower side to be able to take this one home.
Well, Ducky is tanking it like a boss and he's being held by Kerry Berry. He actually survived all this ordeal and this entire battle here. I don't know, would it be RNG or skill, but it helped. Also, I must say, like, it did look chaotic, but it did look to me that Fame had everything under control all of the time. Because, yes, there are mini battles all over the place, but at the end of the day, that overwhelming advantage on the hill helped to Fame to clear that side of the battlefield. The side they were a really entire problem on, where Invil actually opted to pressure cap them, didn't pay off. It looks like it was better choice for them to try to kill Ducky and the rest of the guys than just pressure them with cap, because 60 TPs survived, decapped, even killed them, and it didn't really work out as they wanted.
Yeah, Barry there with a nice performance coming in 10-10-10. Ducky 9-7-5, but then again the 50B doesn't have that good penetration and the gun handling isn't that good, and also Elian picking up 4 kills. Wonderful for the Fame team. I think Barry, Ducky and Elian very crucial, not only due to the damage but due to staying alive for so long on the lower side. And what was very interesting to me was actually the play on the hill, where I thought Fame would win easily due to having such an overmatch on the hill, but Invil was actually holding them nicely and making Fame bleed and able to push on the lower side and create those mini battles where then the Fame players prevailed.
The biggest
near
problem
their own
for us
camp.
is when we had this ordeal with the stream, is that we actually don't know where those 3 Fame guys died.
Yeah.
I guess one of them was maybe one of the corner 60 TPs. I'm not sure, but that was like Elian, so probably
Yeah, I think
not.
Shockish was pushing up through the 8 line. He probably got caught in his
so maybe
60 TP.
Shockish, and I don't know who would the other guys be, you know. So we saw the TBR survived pretty much till the end, more or less. So I have no idea. We will maybe have to rewatch it from the replays in the future. But anyways, as I said, like Fame looked to have really everything under the control. Listen, guys, like the marking of good teams is that whenever there is a chaos all over the place in a battlefield, the players can make good judgment calls based on strategy. So they know what is overall strategy. They more or less know what's expected on them, and then they cooperate with each other on those small fires of battlefields everywhere. And as long as they do it well, they will pretty much prevail at the end, no matter how chaotic the numbers look.
Especially on a chaotic map like Himmelsdorf. That's what Fame used to like about the map, that basically you're doing a lot with tactics, but also your players can carry you if they get good synergies going, if the communication in the battle is good. And that's just what happened this game. As we can see here, Ducky's performance, 1 kill and 3.8k damage. The 60 TPs today coming in strong on Himmelsdorf. It's not only Ducky, it was Elian as well, and in the battles before we saw Sansan performing admirably. I mean, the gun isn't as good, but it seems like the people are making it work here today. And
Dude, 60 TP, new meta. There we go.
60 TP and or 705A, they both can be picked on Himmelsdorf for basically just side scraping or being hold down and just throwing those pesky
I kind of have a
shells
feeling
at the
60
enemy.
TP is way stronger, to be honest, than 705.
Well, the 705 is almost impenetrable when side scraping. With the 60 TP, you need to be a little careful because the gun mantlet, if you're unlucky, actually gets penetrated by super concave PCR. So that's a little drawback confirmed.
But they're not picked for that. They're picked for HE solely. And in HE games, 60 TP prevails every time. It's easy as that. You cannot side scrape against that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's pointless. So
yeah, that's why you sometimes see 705As in the 8 line, because they sort of trade better against 60 TPs, but very rarely, because it doesn't have hold down potential whatsoever. The 60 TP with the, I believe, 10 degrees of gun depression or whatnot, it's just so much more viable.
Just
also,
nasty.
you can put it, it's nasty, yeah. It's not arty level of nasty, but it's nasty.
Well, I was like, why are people playing in Rec 60 TP? And I realized, they don't have to play arty anymore. They can just click HE 400 damage every click. Nice.
Yep.
Happy to see it. And then 1000 when you pen. Nicer.
It's a very frustrating thing to have to happen to you. Anyway, that was game 1 on Himmelsdorf in between Fame and Invil. It was Fame defending, and they actually managed to defend in, I would say it wasn't the most convincing of fashion, but it was fairly stable. for playing against a clan like Invil. And now it's going to be Invil defending. Last tournament on Himmelsdorf, Invil actually camped, and I have reason to believe that this time they won't do it, Mojo.
Seriously, I hope I will never see anyone do that again. Like, it's just appalling. I really hate it, man. Like, I really hate it. It's like, it's not only slow. If you lose in that fashion, it's even worse then. Especially
it's
for
insult
such
to
teams.
injury.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
remember Davy camping, Fame camping,
Fame.
getting beaten by Davy, and
Yep.
then Davy actually turned from hero to villain and did the same thing. But yeah.
Anyways, guys, great apologies. Like, apologies for the interruption of the stream again. I hope it will really not happen anymore, because these games are super interesting to watch. It's not like it's some break where no one is doing anything on a map. We will watch now Invil defending and Fame attacking on Himmelsdorf. By the composition of tanks, I don't see any camping potential. Like, both teams are opting for a fight, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I
Fame
don't
is
see-
slightly heavier though.
I don't see any camping potential either. Both teams with a 60 TP, both teams with a double 50B, both teams with a 26A4. It's actually Invil bringing Monsteryo in the EBR. He seems to be going to the hill, but not a lot of other Invil tanks. Like the Batchat is also coming, but the rest is going for that 8-line commitment. And we can see Fame so far pushing out one Super Conk through the middle, and the rest is a complete 1-2 line push, but it's getting all spotted out by Call Me Piotr.
Ooh, and there is a parallel huge push on 8 line by Invil. This is going to be a huge decision-making moment by both teams now.
Yeah, the tanks in B3 immediately getting halted by Fame, and now it is the question, how many tanks will Fame push out through the 1-2 line to clear out that? Invil not having left many people there, they are now repushing the D line, but it should be the B3 tanks from Fame just being there in the nick of time, and they're putting on the hurt. Nile getting caught out in the open now in the Super Conk. He's gonna drop soon as Mumek and David are behind him. Shokish actually picking up the first kill with CJ here. Nile still not dead here, but
Unreal, man.
how is Nile not dying here? I don't understand it. And Fame, they are just making Invil bleed for this push. Nile finally getting picked up by Mumek with his 13 centimeters. And there is the Invil EBR behind all of those, probably harassing Feli. But at the same time, Fame has pushed out the 1-2 line. They are going through the K line. It is the 2684 in the window there remaining. But other than that, Fame seems to have stabilized, being content with that. Ketsai finally drops in the 2684. And now Fame probably has a free reign on the cap if tanks by Invil weren't there in the G-line, Mojo.
I mean, like, that pick of EBR and Bacha doesn't pay off here in Invil. In this kind of gamble, they already lost it. Also, Nile was pressure hard there, but they made them pay multiple times, and he survived there even with broken Amorek like a champ, man. Invil is getting decimated all over the place. Their cap is pressure. There is 10 seconds remaining. Lead of 6000 HP for Fame, and this might be Himmelsdorf 2-0 in a couple of seconds, man.
Yeah, the cap race is going on 3 seconds still here. I mean, Yuzek is trying what he can against Mary. The 60 TP from Invil being the only one who can maybe reset, but there we go, it's capped. And this means that yet another map that we saw getting picked by one team gets completely stomped by the other one. Invil down 2-0 in this quarterfinal against Fame.
This is an awesome start for the Fame, like, totally not something that Invil wanted or hoped for. But in this game, they definitely didn't deserve to come even close to Fame. Seriously, like, Fame was here by tactical proness and by the play, not one, but 2 steps ahead. I would say like that.
Yes,
Like-
indeed. Fame seeming more ready to receive whatever Invil was throwing at them. And here we can see the damage dispersion amongst both teams. It's pretty fine, but there you see it. Fame just does so much more damage overall. Only one tank not dealing 1k damage. Everybody else with the quadruple digit. And again, Ducky coming in with a 60 TP with a high damage number. That tank seems to be made for Himmelsdorf. And then
Maybe
Mary
it's made
at the
for
top
Ducky
of the
better
board.
than when he plays EBR, eh?
I mean, there's a lot of space in that tank to fit Ducky in, so yeah, I guess. But yeah, admirable shooting also. Feli 777, Ducky 555. Nothing to be left desired here by those players. And yeah, Fame putting on a show on Himmelsdorf. They seem to have come back on track regarding their map, as they like to call it. And yeah, we'll see. The Invil unable to deal with basically Fame at this point. at the moment. And also what I would like to mention is that basically Invil, their focus fire doesn't seem to be entirely on point. If you think about how long Nile actually survived that
That
push
was like
there.
abomination. There was 3 or 4 guys who could have ended him just by turning a gun, and no one did. It wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah, it wouldn't change anything,
It did,
but
like it looked bad. It just looked bad, man.
It's never a good sign when you push over and someone survives and gets to farm 1 or 2 more shots. Yes,
He's
Nile
on
was
100
ammo-wrecked,
HP, man.
but
Like seriously. And we were watching him there for a while.
And this is actually the first game of the tournament where we don't see 15 destructions by either team, because Fame actually won by cap. But there you have it, the hits, the pens, it's a beauty to look at for Fame here. 94, 81. It just shows that the players are back here and they're back to put on a show and they are motivated.
Oh, slow down, Buster. We will see about that. Like, we still need to see Prokhorovka, and does Invil has something there set up for us. I mean, I certainly hope, because I would not like to see a stomp, especially not in this kind of level of players. Anyways.
Indeed, Prokhorovka spelling big troubles here for Fame, as Fame actually picked Prokhorovka, so you know what's gonna happen there, probably.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We will see about that. So far, like, it looks like the Fame planning for Himmelsdorf worked really well. I don't know, like, did they plan it especially against Invil, or this is just like a strat they chose to play? This is definitely something that they wouldn't need to save for the end of the tournament, maybe, because like Invil is too serious to play around with that, you know?
Yeah,
and
also,
best of 5 doesn't give you really a lot of room to mess up with. Like in best of 7 or 9, you might gamble a bit to save some strat, but best of 5, man, you need every win you can get instantly.
Best of 5 is brutal, and also it's not double elimination, it's single elimination, so you cannot afford to leave tactics at the back, because if you lose and you're out, there's no second chance. You're gone from the tournament if you lose. So I don't think either of those teams is saving strats right now. I don't think they would against the respective enemy, and I don't think they should against the respective enemy, because even though Invil is down 2-0 right now, they are still a very respectable team. They are, in my opinion, also one of the strongest teams in the tournament. It's just the problem right now that they're also facing one of the contenders for the title, that they are facing Fame.
Yeah, well, problems arise anyways. You have to beat them sooner or later if you want to win, right?
Yes.
Anyways, what will we see in the next map? That's gonna be dubious. Like we will watch Invil on defense, Fame on attack. Like, will Invil gamble and play aggressive from the start and risk it? Like, yeah, we're gonna go with a bang or a glorious, or they're just gonna opt for some careful play? Because you saw this was like a gamble they did. This was a huge push against an enemy who had already from the start 3,000 or 4,000 HP more.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see about that. The thing is, Fame picking the map, that means Invil chose to attack first. So they probably think their attack game is stronger than the defense game. Wait, no, am I talking something wrong?
Invil is defending and Fame
Invil is defending. Yeah, so they're the other way around. They think their defense is stronger than their attack, and now we're gonna see Luna, the disgusting clicker, coming in with the 261 here for Invil. We have the Conk GC played by Ragging. Both teams with triple EBR, and then there is a mix of tanks. Both teams with super Kongs. Fame going for the 277 approach. Invil with a lot of mediums here, actually. Normally you see some fast heavies being played, but Invil will have none of it. One IS-7, other than that, an E50M being played, and 140s.
That's like really interesting. Like E50M, that I don't understand. Like, so you don't want a Leopard, you're taking that. Anyways, couple of guys in a forest for Invil. 3 heavies, all of them in the center, and a huge push toward the 0 line, all the mediums and all 3 EBRs. So they want to suppress Fame there instantly, so they do not see their mediums, and maybe try to take 1 or 2 guys from Fame before the Fame decides to counter push everything else.
Ouch, Duck of Death directly setting Monster Yo on fire, and now Fame should know what's up, because it's all 3 EBRs on one side by Invil. That means they don't have anything on the upper side. You can see already that EBR by Fame. He pushed up, Kamil pushed up on the one line, but he gets picked up immediately, probably too far. Papa Pavian now trying to provide spots here for his team. Is he actually boosting up there? I haven't seen that one yet. He's getting into the
mad
push
skills,
there.
man.
Nice skills by Papa, and now call me Piotr getting ouch in his E50M. I don't know what he wanted to do there. He just gets focused down 205, and there comes the raid push by Invil into the 6 line. All the 140s with their DPM coming in onto the heavy tanks by Fame. Fame has a lot of them. They're all turning now towards the mediums, and we'll see how Fame reacts to this push.
This is definitely not gonna work. That's how it looks to me, because they're getting deleted one by one and they're not even doing any damage. That E50M got deleted before he fired a shell, more or less. 140 is jumping over the rails. It looks nice in theory, but Fame met them in hot lead, man, and they are making damage. Cat's Eye is ramming himself in reaction so he can make some more damage. But look at this, man. He didn't last 2 seconds after that. This is just going downways.
And also keep in mind those H1 Super Conk 140 combo, it's gonna farm away at the Invil tanks who are down to 5k HP now, and this looks like a slaughterfest for Fame here, who received that aggression from Invil on their respective defensive side. And yeah, Fame just being able to be ready for every move that Invil made. Yuzek picking up his 3k damage here, but it's not gonna matter as Invil down to 5 tanks in this tournament. 3 EBRs still remaining, but they are more pesky than dangerous, and the Fame players now just mopping up what's left of this game. Yuzek getting killed, Ruzek dropping out, and yeah, it is very unfortunate for Invil. Monster Yo showing he knows the bushes on Proco, but he's not gonna be able to save his team from defeat and dropping out of the Clan Rivals tournament. I believe it is safe to say we have found our 4th semi-finalist of the tournament, Mojo.
Man, unless Monster Yo turns on some God mode on, yeah, that's done.
And there we go. Monster
This
Yo,
cherry on
just
top
like
of the match turned out to be a forbidden fruit for Invil, man.
Yeah, the cherry on top turned out to be sour. It was a 3-0, and you have to say Fame looked convincing doing it. There was except for the first match where I thought Invil might take it, it looked like complete and utter domination by Fame here in this match. And as we can see, well, basically the damage numbers for Invil simply not there. Ducky putting on a show yet again. 4k damage, and then the damage so evenly spread. The only criticism I could say about this team is Kamil pushing on the one line too aggressively, and Luna not getting over 1k damage on Proco in a 261. Other than that, complete domination. You see the E50M not working out. I'm not sure what it was taken for. Maybe when pushing over the hill you can ram someone, but...
Dude, but like while you're climbing, the silhouette is so big. I don't really understand it, you know?
Yeah, he
has a decent gun, but Leopard has a better one if you want to snipe. If you want to push, it doesn't have that great arbor, and like his silhouette, you could see it on stream, and he was like plastered all over the place. No one missed him.
Once he got spotted, there was no way out of going back to the garage for him, because he just cannot hide up there.
I really do like the move that Papa Pavian did, man. That climbing up, I didn't even know it's possible.
I didn't know either. You have to mention that.
Like I saw him fall down, you know, and I thought they lost the spot completely, but a sneaky Polak.
Yup. Papa showing he's played the game for quite some time in the last few months. And yeah, Facebook Gaming turning up on top here with Papa doing that very important boost. Other than that, I don't think Piotr would have gotten spotted in the E50M. So that was actually valuable. Most of the time when people do funky stuff, it doesn't turn out to be useful. This time it did, and Fame with a convincing 15-3 scoreline with exactly 100 shots fired. Just, taking a convincing victory in this game 3 and thus the match.
It was like... it almost looked to me like Invil was kind of triggered in one moment when they pushed, man. Like that kind of push straight into the heavy tanks, and there was not even a huge sync between them and the rest of their team, you know, from the forest and the heavy tanks on the mid. Like they lost 2 or 3 mediums before other guys even started shooting.
Yeah, and there we can see the only guy from Invil on the damage leaderboard is Yuzek coming in just after Ducky, and this just says it all. I mean, when one game is dominating the damage leaderboard like this, the only possible win condition for the other team is capping, but that's not going to happen on Prokhorovka. And yeah, that was the last game of the day for us, for the two of us, Mojo. As we can see some more stats coming up here. Ducky against Yuzek matched up here. The two top damage dealers for both of their respective teams, and Daki, 100% hit, 100%
I must say,
pen.
putting Daki on heavy is way better.
He fits the role quite convincingly, I have to say. But yeah, Mojo, I believe that was enough from us, enough for the first day. Thanks for watching from our side, and we'll be heading to the analyst's desk.
Thank you very much, Mojo and Kihan, for that amazing day and what were very, very convincing victories in the last two games. So it looks like we're going to be finishing a little bit earlier than planned. Please be aware, everybody who has these comments on right now, we are still doing these tournaments with remote streams. That means essentially we send something to Minsk, that gets sent to Paris, we all work from home, and that all gets sent to another location. I think roughly I counted out we've got 7 different countries with different signals from each going either way, and having a bit of down signal from a capture card for about 10 seconds, though one of the most exciting games, isn't the worst thing that could have happened. I know we're going to have the replays coming up soon, which much to say on there. I will say from what I've seen so far, Daki was making a statement on his return with those damage scores. Yeah, what did you feel of those games?
Yeah, it was a dominating performance by Fame, really. A couple of really important things that happened in the first Himmels game. Obviously, I'll show it when we get the replays up, but Fame just altogether just a very convincing performance. They took the positions they needed to, and they just made Invul bleed for every play they wanted to make. Whether that was the push on the D line in the second game or the push towards their cap in the first game. I think the Proco towards the end, and obviously we can only speculate, but I think that the push that Invul made in the end was just a little bit reckless. I think they may have perhaps been a bit triggered. They just sort of went in with the 140s and then the 268 and then the 430Us, and it was it was all a bit one by one after you. Fame obviously on that game, they had all the tanks spread out and just farmed them as they pushed in.
Yep. Yeah. So we should be able to show the tournament bracket, showing you everybody the results of the day so far. I can't remember off the top of my head each team goes where, but so tomorrow we will have CSA versus... Oh wait, now we've got the replays, never mind.
Yes, so the first game here, obviously in the beginning, Camel spotted all of the Invul tanks that went towards the hill, which is really important because it means that Fame know exactly how many tanks they have to send towards the hill to win it. Also, Invul were hesitant to push the 1-2 in that game, probably because in the past Fame has had a tendency to hold with 5 or 6 tanks on the 1-2 line, and obviously they didn't have that info, which is probably why they were more hesitant to push towards the cap so early into the game. And then obviously 60 TPs coming out big with all the HP, managing to hold for a really, really long time, and actually even not dying in the end of the game. With all that HP, all that alpha, they managed to survive the entire battle, which is really impressive. In the second game, obviously Fame pushing out the 1-2, Invul opting for the D-line push. We do see this quite often on Himmels. Teams like to clear out the D-line, get rid of all these tanks in the windows. Nile obviously is going to go down. It does take a little while, but that's not really what's relevant. The important thing is that Fame actually sets up a crossfire in D3. So all of these Invul tanks which are in the D-line essentially just get stuck here, and they can't actually go anywhere. They can't leave, but they also can't push out. Meanwhile, Fame just sort of split their tanks accordingly, and they sent the correct number of tanks towards the cap to make sure they clear out all the Invul tanks that are hanging around there, and the correct number of tanks to be able to prevent these guys in the D-line from doing anything either. So we have sort of Demon, David, and Mumek. They're just sort of stuck here, bleeding HP. They can't go anywhere. And to be honest, even now, these Fame tanks could have pushed in and maybe finished them off already. Fame obviously pushing on towards the cap. Invul not having enough tanks to be able to go in and re-push that because they'll get heavily crossfired. Obviously, Mary and Elian preventing Uzek from going towards the cap to reset. But yeah, I think obviously Invul made both teams did make an aggressive play in this game, but I think Fame just adjusted a little bit better.
Yep.
Obviously into the Proco game, Monster a bit unlucky to get set on fire at the start of the battle, but Pavian also goes down to a one-shot. Piotr getting spotted out on the hill is maybe a bit of a misplay, but obviously Key said the E50M is most likely picked for jumping over the hill, which I mean, you wouldn't really use it for anything else. If you wanted it for sniping, you take a Leo 1. And obviously Invul pushing in over, I think one of them gets set on fire in the 140s, but the 140s just, they don't have the HP to to go in against these 277s, they pretty much pushed in to the open with the same amount of tanks that Fame had in the middle. I think it was 4 140s versus 4 277s, maybe even 5 277s, and they had to deal with a 5v5 or a 4v4, whatever it was, in addition to all of the Fame tanks sniping them from the back, from the one line, from the rails, and other positions on the map. But yeah, yeah, and then obviously Monster hiding in the bush at the end. But I feel it's a little bit it is a little bit unfortunate for Invil, because you do a lot of prep for these tournaments, and you go out to a best of 5 where it's only a single elimination. So unfortunately for them, they're sent packing after only 3 battles played, which is a bit of a bummer.
Yep. So what I did notice out of a lot of those games was Fame seemed to like baiting Invil into a certain position or an attack, and just waiting for it to happen. And then once Invil went there, exactly where Fame seemed to predict they were going to go, and just pincered them, and just chewed them down.
Yeah, it's like about reading the game, and perhaps Fame maybe just read it a little bit quicker, a little bit better than Invil did.
Yep. So we should be able to show the tournament bracket now, showing the progress through everything. I'm going to let you talk through how you think those games went, and what you can expect to see tomorrow.
Yes, so most of the games, I got all my predictions right in terms of who won. In terms of by how many, I didn't get that quite right. I thought Invil might pick up some more rounds, Nomi as well. Raid winning convincingly against Batum. Weird just about making it through. CSA just about making it through against Weird. So Raid going to be against CSA in the first semi-final tomorrow, and then Tilt stomping Nomi, and Fame kind of stomping Invil a bit as well. So it's going to be Tilt versus Fame for the second semi-final tomorrow, and those are going to be best of 7s, I believe.
No puns coming there, like Raid,
Nope.
Raid getting the victory, and CSA having a weird victory. No puns. Okay, so we will have Raid versus CSA first thing tomorrow, then Tilt versus Fame second, and then the winner from either of those will go through to the second battle of there. Do you have an MVP from today? Is there anybody that stuck out?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Obviously, Hannah's in the first game on the Lighthouse, that was a pretty good play. Honestly, the rest of the matches just escaped my memory. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest.
That's okay. You've got a lot of homework to do tonight, then.
Yeah.
So we've had the games for today. I do want to highlight again our sponsor BenQ, providing some of the prizes on there. There's some pretty hefty prizes going to the players for today, and then we will see you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock, where we will start with the first game of CSA versus Raid, and then move through the day as it goes. It will be different layout tomorrow, with best of 7s for the first 2 games and then best of 9 for the final game. So it will be a chunky stream again. We're already at 3 hours or over, which I know is a fair commitment from everybody. And I thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for joining in chat. We're going to find somebody to raid right now. And before all of that, make sure that you hit the follow button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Check out the Gleam Link giveaways. We will have another one tomorrow. We'll also have another code for tomorrow. And we will see you tomorrow.